Whether you need food for company meetings or events, daily employee lunches, or your next lunch and learn, Easy Cater makes food for work, work. And it doesn't stop at lunch. With Easy Cater, you've got great breakfast options, snacks, treats, and more. Whenever and wherever work happens, Easy Cater's here to make the food happen. Order now at easycater.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. We have a winter weather advisory in effect from Wake County south and east. We could see 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches of snow. This doesn't seem like a lot, but it's been so cold that whatever falls will stick and roads will get slick tonight and into tomorrow morning. Our temperature this afternoon just 33 with wind chills, much colder than that. We do have a cold weather advisory for tomorrow morning for wind chills in the single digits. Tonight's low around 19, tomorrow's high 33.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 459 points to 43,947.
Rebound tipped out to R.J. Davis. He's going to try and push it. He'll pull up for three and transition. Wow. Count it, baby.
7.7 to go. They get the inbound to Raynaud. Hands off to Blake. Coming front side with 5. Blake drives against Trimble. His follow-away left of the lane is good. Blake's the Duke transfer hits another big bucket. Looking deep. Throws a long baseball pass to the front court. Trimble tries to save it, and that is it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Going up on a Tuesday. We're back for the week. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. We didn't have a Monday show due to the holiday, so we will have your opportunity to sound off today. We'll be opening up the phone lines about 3:30 for all of your venting, all of your gloating, all of your everything in between. Canes, college basketball, football, the NFL playoffs, CFP final. Whatever you want to vent, whatever you want to sound off on, phone lines will be open at 3:30. Bookmark the phone number now, 919-860-5326. And I think more venting than gloating will be involved for North Carolina Tar Heel fans. Carolina suffered the kind of loss to Stanford over the weekend that gives back so much of the, darn near all of the progress they had been making over the last few weeks. Go back and listen to our segments last week about UNC. Tinges of optimism, happiness, excitement, putting it together, figuring it out were words and phrases that we used to describe UNC. Then they went and lost to Stanford. There are certain things. I don't like. Sometimes you get real detailed. Sometimes it's more simple. You can't lose to Stanford at home. When you are the North Carolina Tar Heels, you can't lose to Stanford at home. We could stop there. Stanford was a quad 3 game. Not even a strong ACC team this year. You can't lose to Stanford at home. But when you get into the details, it gets worse. You can't lose to Stanford at home, especially when the flaws in your roster weren't the cause. We know they lack size. We know North Carolina doesn't have a traditional big. That didn't get you. You rebounded essentially evenly. You gave up volume stats to Max Raynaud, the all-whatever player for Stanford, but he was wildly inefficient. Took a bunch of shots to get to his, whatever it was, 23 and 12.
He took 24 shots total.
That's good. You did it. You did the hard part.
8 of 24. That's all he was.
You did it. You outscored Stanford in the paint, so we can't even sit back and blame roster construction for this one. Hubert Davis, the head coach, too many small mistakes is what caused the loss for Stanford.
I felt like today it wasn't one thing. I felt like it was a number of just little details that just mistakes that we made throughout the entire game, whether it be on both ends of the floor, whether it was execution defensively out of bounds underneath, ball screen coverage, closeouts, take two guy, and then on the offensive end, turnover, shot selection, execution, being in the right spots. And so I just felt like it was a culmination of little things.
Little things, culmination of little things. The scary part is, yes, Ian Jackson had an off day. Ian Jackson had been scoring like 21 points per game over his last, 7 or 8 games. Ian Jackson, a true freshman, had an off day, and UNC reverted right back to where they were before I thought they figured out the roster. They went right back to it. R.J. Davis leading them in scoring but inefficient. I never in a million years thought I'd say this about this year's UNC team, but if Ian Jackson isn't cooking, they don't have enough scoring firepower. If the other team's inefficient, it's canceled out by their own inefficiencies. It takes them a lot of shots to get a certain amount of points. It'll take UNC a lot of shots to get a certain amount of points. A freshman is that important on the perimeter to a team that returned R.J. Davis and Seth Trimble. R.J. Davis, the defending ACC Player of the Year. Seth Trimble, one of the favorites and one of the contenders last year for Sixth Man of the Year. Ian Jackson is now a keystone species. He is a quintessential building block. If he doesn't score, 18, this team struggles with even the run-of-the-pack ACC squads. I thought I thought they were going to be able to continue their run because I still believe in the talent, but the talent just isn't producing. Drake Powell wasn't used enough. Was it 3 shots?
Yeah, he was quiet. He was quiet all afternoon.
There is a stat I would like to use here. Let me see if I can go ahead and find it. About Drake Powell. Here it is. Drake Powell. There's a ESPN a big board out there, right? This is where I found the stat on NBA draft picks.
Okay.
Drake Powell is projected to be a lottery pick, late lottery, like 13, 14. Here is what one way they described him. Powell doesn't play a big role for the Tar Heels with a 13% usage rate. That ranks last among projected draft picks.
Wow.
That's not last amongst projected like top 10, last among projected that last among their projected draft picks at 13% usage, which means you have a Ferrari in your car that you only drive on like Tuesday afternoons when it's not raining. You're not enjoying it. You're not using it. And if you're not having Drake Powell ready to go right in the garage, firing the engines, then yeah, when Ian Jackson struggles, the offense is going to struggle. And then on top of that, it was Jalen Blakes that hit the game winner for Stanford, former Duke Blue Devil. Hubert Davis explained what happened on the final shot like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same communication that I had in regards to similar situation against UCLA, against NC State, and against Notre Dame. You know, whatever it takes, we've got to get a stop, and we got to finish the possession with a rebound. I haven't looked at it, but, I mean, we had a man-on-man. He took it the length of the floor, rose up and took a step back and knocked it down. And you have to give credit to Blake's being able to make that shot in that situation, and it resulted in us losing.
That's the measured coach take of it. Let's hear Jalen Blakes, the player, again, Stanford guard, former Duke guard, talking about hitting the game winner at UNC.
I would be lying to you if I didn't think about having this moment the night before the game. I was in my hotel room thinking about Austin Rivers' shot, and I was thinking I would have a moment like that. And, God works in mysterious ways, and, I'm grateful that, Coach trusted me, and then my teammates trusted me to have the ball at the end of the game like that. And, it's a big win for Stanford, beating one of the, most historic teams in the country. It was a special moment, when, I still have Duke blood in me, so it's still GTHC.
GTHC. People familiar with the rivalries will know exactly what that stands for. And what did we say? To the victor goes the trash talk, right? You hit the shot, you get to talk the trash, and Jalen Blake seized his opportunity. And I'm sure that goes, further back than just, hitting the shot. I looked up his 247 sports profile. They list a whole bunch of offers going back to his high school, Duke included, which is where he ended up committing. Didn't get one from UNC. Again, maybe he did, and it just didn't make its way to the media. But a whole bunch of offers were listed, and that one wasn't there. So credit to Blake's for getting his little moment to talk some trash.
I was at the game there on Saturday, and it just felt like at some points during the game, it's like, okay, this is the spot where UNC is just going to take over. Okay,
Agreed.
This is the spot where UNC's offense is just going to go on a run where it's like a 13-2 run, and they just extend this lead and just take off with this game. And it just never happened.
Yep.
It just never happened. You mentioned Raynaud and with his 25 points wherever he had, and then Hubert Davis talking about the small details. I was like, well, one thing that they never did, UNC never did, like Raynaud was not afraid to shoot from the outside, even though he was, I think, 4 of 12 in the game for it. They never try to run him off the three-point line. It's like this guy clearly is okay shooting, and sure enough, late in the game, he hits his 4th three-pointer that actually gave Stanford a 1-point lead, but it was a big shot late. I was like, where's the closeout? They never closed out on him at any point during the game, it felt like. And I don't know, there's a lot of open looks because different times Stanford defensively went with a 1-3-1 zone with Raynaud and his big 7'2" frame there in the middle of it. And UNC's ball movement led to open shots. They just weren't hitting them. It's just simple as that. It's like, okay, here's a corner three for Ian Jackson, doesn't go. Here's a three-pointer for RJ Davis, doesn't go. And they're clean looks. But it just felt like UNC's offense was ready to explode, and it never happened.
I couldn't agree more with that. By the way, the other thing that I think they didn't really adjust to was Raynaud and Young, the two bigger guys for Stanford. I think I'm looking at it right now. 7 blocks between the two of them, 4 and 3. I like your determination, but challenging the 7'2" guy, maybe you weren't hitting shots from outside. You drove like that. It goes back to exactly what I said. When Ian Jackson doesn't have it going, I don't know where their offensive firepower comes from. If you're not knocking down open shots, you're not getting to the bucket and being effective, what are you supposed to, you're supposed to go full DeMar DeRozan? Just nothing but short mid-range jumpers, which is not something you practice, I assume, because it's, not analytically efficient. It just puts you in a really, really tough spot. They took some steps back, and I don't say that lightly against Stanford. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, we have Tuesday Soundoff, Monday Soundoff, but since this is the first show of our week, Tuesday Soundoff coming up at 3:30, 919-860-5326. Bookmark the phone number for 3:30. Before we jump to some Canes talk, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for ESPN Bet Sportsbook. The action is heating up this playoff season at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Lock in your touchdown picks, check out trending parlays, and increase your winnings with Profit Boost. New customers can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win, and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with the promo code RADIO to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Canes won 2 games over the weekend. Vegas on Friday, Chicago yesterday. What stood out? Stick around.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Here's Aho with a chance, and he scores! And Sebastian Aho has tied it at 2.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 7:30. Puck drop at 8.
He scores! Jackson Blake gets the stick to it, and Carolina scores on the power play to take a 3-2 lead.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Just in time for you to have a great new year, it's the Start Something New sales event at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn for 25% off. That's like a quarter of a truck for free. And not just any truck, a shiny new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn. See dealer for details. Make this your best year yet. Get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
This is Gordon Miller with Miller Lending and Cary, and I have a question. When it comes time to buy a house, do you just look at one? Probably not. So when it comes time to working with a lender, multiple surveys have shown that borrowers who requested multiple quotes were far more likely to receive better terms when compared to those who likely only spoke to one. So why Miller Lending? As a mortgage broker, we're not limited to only one lender, as is the case with your bank. We act as more of a one-stop shop. With access to over 24 lenders, it's not uncommon to receive multiple bids for your mortgage. Recently, we've saved numerous homeowners upwards of $10,000 or more in closing costs for the same interest rate they'd been quoted. Now, while you may think all lenders are the same, they aren't. So whether it's a no closing cost purchase, our highly competitive FHA, VA, or jumbo rate, see why thousands of satisfied clients have chosen Miller Lending as their lender for life. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. 2025 needs to start clean. Get all that dirt from 2024 out of your carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, every surface in your house, because in 2025, we're starting Zero Resified. Biggest sale of the year. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned, starting at just $109, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning while you're at it. Offer is open through January 31st, so visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000.
Shop can't miss deals going on now during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. For a limited time, get a free adjustable stand when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch miter saw. That's a $229 value. Plus, save $680 on a Midea 4-piece kitchen appliance suite. Now just $17.96. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 113 through 124. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. While supplies last. See store or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
Out comes Burns. Natchez with it. Natchez stops. Face off top. Across. Oh, he scores! Game over! Sebastian Aho, his 4th overtime winner this season. And the Canes get the extra point and win it 4-3 in overtime.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was a fun weekend of hockey for the Carolina Hurricanes. Get the dub against Vegas on Friday. Get the win yesterday at Chicago. You just heard the highlight of that one. Kochetkov was good on Friday. Freddy was solid in his return from injury yesterday. How about that? Get to lead off a Canes conversation talking positively about the goalie situation. Can't say that's always been the case. A lot of uncertainty. And while there still is a lot of uncertainty, that right there feels good to say. Winning shouldn't hide everything, though. Right? There's part of being a large sample size sport, right? Part of being a 80-plus game regular season sport is the reason why you have so many games is because something you need to let the flukes kind of wash away, right? You in the NFL, if you win like 3 games that you shouldn't, that's like you jump to like the 3 seed from being out of the postseason. In the NHL, you play so many games that you win a game, you still have to look at it for what it is. You still have to look at it and take the score away. You still have to look at it and see what's good, what's bad. Dennis, you brought the stat to my attention. Winning shouldn't hide the power play struggles.
Oh, no.
You win some games, that's great. You score a shorthanded goal. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Special teams, that's a positive. Power play's been rough over the last 10.
Yeah, last 10 games, 1 of 28.
Not going to get it done.
That is below 4%. If you go back to actually a couple games even before that, when Shane Gostisbehere got hurt, He got hurt on December 27th against New Jersey. So go back, basically it's now 12 games. Now, granted, he has come back and played in the last few, but since he got injured in the first game of the back-to-back against New Jersey Devils, Canes are 3 of 36, so just over 8%. I think it's 8.3%, roughly around that. The only team worse in that stretch is the Anaheim Ducks in the entire league, and that's not company you want to keep with.
Yeah, I would.
Is the Anaheim Ducks.
I mean, just other than like probably nice weather in Anaheim. No, you don't actually want to be neighbors with them.
Not in this regard, no. It's just that's how dreadful this power play has been. Now, granted, the last 10 games, again, 1 of 28 in the last 10, the Canes are still 6-3-1. Like, okay, like so it's not like you're not getting points. It's not like you're not in games, but some of these games where you feel like, you know what, you kind of need one. Power play, even just to spark your offense a little bit, just hasn't been there.
And even just like raising the intensity, right? When you're in the building, when you're watching and your team draws a power play, it's supposed to be like, all right, nobody go to get food right now. We're like, at this point, it's like power play. All right, I got to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. And it obviously the last 10 games, last 12 games impacts it. Last season, if you're wondering, the Canes were second in the league in power play percentage, 26.9%. This season, including the entire season, 16th in the league, 21.4%. It's missing your free throws, right? It's supposed to be an advantage. So use it.
Ironically, who has struggled over the last 10, 12 games or so scoring?
I mean, we could
like
a couple
who started off scoring? Martin Natchez.
Yeah, Natchez.
Is it unironic that he goes cold and the power play also goes cold?
No, I think that's. I mean, we could draw almost a direct line from A to B. There might be a little detour, but not a big one. So the power play, right? Winning a couple games, getting everybody jacked up. The goalies are back in their role. Power play is still something you got to work on. I also and we've talked about this in other sports, Dennis. Got to start faster. I don't like I forget which coach we asked. We did ask a coach, I think it was during football season, do you work on starting faster? And they were like, yeah, we try. Like, you know, the first period in practice, we try to ramp it up. We try to do these things that can get your team rolling. I looked at it, and I was just, obviously paying attention to the Chicago game. At the end of the first period versus Chicago, Canes trailed 2-0. And I was trying to double watch. I was trying to double screen. So I thought maybe I missed some good opportunities or missed your best scorers creating shots. And I went to the stat sheet, and I actually took a screenshot because I was like, don't forget this. At the end of the first period, when you're down 2-0, you came back to win. That's great. But when you're down 2-0, Aho, Jarvis, Svech, and Natchez combined for one shot on goal. Those are four guys, three of them making a whole bunch of money, one of them asking for a whole bunch of money, that are put in positions, they are put on lines to be the creators of goals. One shot, you're down 2-0. Jack Drury had 3. Jordan Stahl had 2. Eric Robinson had 4. Brent Burns had 2. Yet your main goal scorers, at least the ones you hope are your main goal scorers, combined for 1. Outside of Jordan Stahl, I'm fine with Jordan Stahl taking 2. The other guys, you can't be out, like, whether it's because your goal scorers are shooting more or your other guys are set. You can't have Robinson 4-timesing your 4 best scorers combined in shots and expect to score a bunch. Rod Brindamore did say Jordan Stahl is playing just about his best hockey right now.
I just think he's getting rewarded with some good effort, and his line mates are playing well too. And whether with Jarvie there or Marty, you got to give Marty credit too. That line is just really, it's our best line. It's not even close. These other guys, we got room to get better. So that's the good news for me. We got 2 points, but there's still a lot of room here to improve.
And I want to be clear here. I'm not knocking them for those 4 guys for their performance yesterday. Seth Jarvis ended up scoring a shorthanded goal. Obviously, Sebastian Aho scored the winner in overtime. On the whole, great day, 2 thumbs up. But you can't have all of your high-paid players, all of your stars, being like, I'm just going to jab through the first 3 rounds here and see how the fight's going to go. Somebody's got to at least try to be Tyson. Go for the knockout in the first period. Somebody has to try to go out there and start you off on the right foot. then you can have your closers, right? Tonight against Dallas, I think is a great opportunity, right? It's the second half of a road back-to-back with cross-country travel in between games, which, by the way, it is a radio-only broadcast if you want to hear Mike Maniscalco trip Tracy. 8 o'clock puck drop means 7:30 Stormwatch with Adam Gold. He'll be back for Stormwatch after being out of town the last couple days, so lots to talk about there. This is a game where starting fast has exponential benefits. The rest can come, right? You're going to be tired because the travel, because of the gameplay, because of the way the schedule broke down, because you had overtime. Like, you're going to be tired. Starting fast gives you energy. You're in someone else's arena. You're not going to get the juice from everybody at the Lenovo Center going nuts. You got to bring your own juice. BYOJ. Bring your own energy. BYOE. Winning this one is why it's huge having Freddy Anderson back, right? You get to roll out a rested Kochetkov. Winning this one is a culture game. It's about, yeah, you're tired, but don't let it affect you. Be mentally stronger than that. And also, this is a fun fact for you. Walt Ruff tweeted it out. Rod Brindamore, tonight, 500th game coaching.
Look at that.
Regardless of the outcome, he'll own the most wins by a coach through the first 500 of his NHL career.
A lot of milestones set. So Freddy Anderson played in his 500th game yesterday. Jordan Staal, 1,300th game. Is also that goal he scored with his 700th career point. And Brent Burns is 1 point away from number 900. But so, yeah, yesterday was filled with a ton of milestones. And by the way, next time Freddy Anderson does play and next time he actually wins a game, will be the 300th win of his career.
Look at that. That's a round numbers.
I know.
Just good centuries. Hundreds. Build off that. Use it, right? Celebrate it, but also, win the game. I love those big milestones. I love them more when the players can talk about them honestly in the post game. Because after a loss, what do they have to do? Oh, it's great, but didn't get the ultimate goal, didn't win, so
1-2 points.
After a win, it's like, that's great. It's awesome to think back on all my teammates that helped me get, I want to hear them talk about it honestly, so go win the game so they're allowed to.
By the way, Canes now sit second in the Metropolitan Division. They're up a point on the New Jersey Devils with 2 games in hand over New Jersey as well.
Like that a lot. Now, again, they're a postseason team. We've said it. I don't feel like I'm jinxing them. They're a postseason team. It's about getting ready for the postseason to, make noise and win, not just get there. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Bailey's has the largest Omega shop-in-shop in the country. They're referring it to the shop-in-shop because it's inside their Raleigh Village District location of Bailey's. You walk in, you go to the left, that's where the Omegas live. I am a massive Omega fan, whether it's the Speedmaster, which might be the most iconic watch in the world, in watchmaking history. It's the Moon Watch. Whether it's the Seamaster, which is on the wrist in all of the recent movies of your favorite movie Spy. Yep, the one you're thinking of. The dials, the watchmaking, the movements on the inside, the mechanisms are untouched. They're unbelievable. If you want to go check it out, you want to put it on your wrist, you want to see how cool it makes you feel, head to Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location in Raleigh. Go ahead and elevate your wrist game to a level you didn't know possible. At least that's the way I think of it. Go ahead and check them out. Omega, the boutique is in there to the left when you walk in. Be sure to walk around the main display room and also the Fox and Bailey watch shop all the way on the right. But those Omegas you do not want to miss. When you're in there, go ahead and let them know you heard about it right here from me, Tim, on 99.9 The Fan. Again, Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Raleigh Village District location. We'll take a break. When we come back, it is time for Tuesday Sound Off. Call in now. We're opening up the Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. The lines are open. You can sound off on whatever you see fit when it comes to the sports world. Local teams, obviously, enjoyed. But whatever you want to talk about, 919-860-5326. Tuesday Sound Off coming up next.
Listen for the "Did he just do that?"
Johnson trying to step back for a three. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damas from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The "Get that out of here's."
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
This is Creighton Blackwell from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan, and we're here at South Garner High School to celebrate our next Scholar Athlete of the Month. And that Scholar Athlete is Samayan Jones.
It means a lot to me because my parents, they want me to do well and make it in life. So this is for them. I try to work hard in the classroom and on the court for them and do my best. He's never trying to bring no negative energy, and I feel like that's what makes him a more productive teammate. My teammates, they encourage me a lot because, I've been through injuries. They cheer me on because 2 games ago was my first time getting back on the court. So they cheer me on, encourage me every day. That's why I keep doing what I do.
He was always there in practice, just cheering us up and just carrying us on for practice, even though he wasn't playing. So that just shows what type of guy he is.
And then I have him in my class, so he's a great student as well. Just last week, one of his real good friends, he's like, Junior's just a good vibe, man. And that's what he is.
Congratulations, Samayan.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Hey everybody, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. There's nothing like the NFL playoffs. It's one big game after another. And you know what? Big games deserve bigger payouts. That's why FanDuel is giving all customers a same-game parlay profit boost every game day during the NFL playoffs. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll score a bigger payout if your SGP hits. Don't just watch from the sidelines. Visit FanDuel.com/Paul. That's Paul with a capital P, and get in on the action. That's FanDuel.com/Paul to get your same-game parlay profit boost every game day during the NFL playoffs. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Blacksher right half court. Bounces left wing Stojakovic. Taylor all over him, pries the ball free, tracks it down half court, on the break, Taylor for the tie, puts it in, and the foul, place goes wild. Tied at 61 with 80 seconds to play. Steal and a bucket for Taylor on the break.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This is the music you're all expecting, right? Wasn't what I was expecting, but might be accurate for some of the college basketball fans in the area. 919-860-5326. It's the Heister Automotive Group hotline, and it is open for all of your sounding off. We do normally do this on Monday. We call it a Monday sound off. But today, since it is our first show of the week, we were off for the holiday yesterday. We're opening up the phone lines, making sure you have your chance to be heard. 919-860-5326. Open for you right now. Go ahead and call in. We'll start with Clayton and Wake Forest. Wants to sound off on NC State basketball. Not a great game over the weekend for NC State. So go ahead, Clayton. Take it away.
Yeah, you hit it on the ball right there. Not a good game. They can't close out their games. Like Carolina, 2-point loss.
Mhm.
Wednesday the 15th, whereas in the lead by 15, and they blew the lead.
I mean, I can run through a bunch of them for you here. You're right. North Carolina was a 2-point loss. They lost to Virginia by 3. Lost to Virginia Tech most recently by 3, and then over the weekend, Cal by also 3. So they're coming down to one-possession games, and although they did mix in a win over Notre Dame by 1, they're losing more than they're winning.
Yes, they need to figure out a way to use that lineup to their advantage.
I'm with you. I appreciate the call. I'm extremely with you. Call back in anytime. Again, Heaster Automotive Group hotline, open for everyone's thoughts, 919-860-5326. I'm waning on my – I was so steadfast that there was a right way to use this roster offensively, and they just hadn't unlocked it yet. The games like the one against Cal make me a little bit less confident, right? Dontez Styles going 0 for 4, 0 for 3 from 3. I'm going like, that guy's role is kind of knock down outside shots. What are you going to do if just the shots aren't falling, right? They were 10% from 3. It's hard to win in college basketball if you're not knocking down threes. Again, Heaster Automotive Group hotline open for all of you. We'll go to Jeff in a second, but first, 919-860-5326. Call in if you have something you want to sound off on. Jeff in Raleigh, you want to sound off on the Carolina Hurricanes, and we want to hear it. Go ahead and take it away.
Hard to win in college basketball if you're not knocking down threes.
Jeff, go ahead and turn your radio down. We're hearing a little replay, but go ahead and make your point on the Canes.
Are you there?
We are here.
I'm sorry, I'm had the radio on and
it's all good. Just go ahead and jump into the Canes.
This is Jeff in Raleigh. I'm sorry I called you Dennis. I thought Dennis was answering the phone, but good to talk to you. I just want to tell all these Canes fans, and I've been a Penguin fan since the 60s, and a lot of the Canes guys, whether it's Jordan Stahl or Ron Francis or Mark Recchi, have come up here. And I just want to say, relax. We're fine. Our goalie's back. We're going to be in the playoffs. When it comes to the playoffs, it's just you need a hot goalie. We have a goalie back. Period.
So just to be clear, your kind of relax, everybody chill out reassurance
Exactly.
is that Freddy Anderson will catch fire in the postseason?
I don't know about catching fire, but he's our main goalie. I played goalie for over 20 years. I'm just telling you, if you get hot, good luck with the other team winning. On the other hand, if you crap your pants, team's going to lose. Period. Has nothing to do with what's happening right now. As long as we get in the playoffs, we still got a shot. Everybody needs to chillax.
All right. I appreciate the call, and I like the enthusiasm there, Jeff. The Heaster Automotive Group hotline is open right now for your Tuesday sound-offs. As you just heard Jeff right there, let us know what you think. 919-860-5326. 2 things I'll push back on for Jeff there. One, before Ron Francis was a Penguin, he was a Whaler, so it sounded like you were saying, like, we took your guy. There's some passing back and forth there that may happen, depending on how you consider Whalers and Canes and what that relationship is. Secondly, the thing that I would push back on is you're absolutely right. A hot goaltender can change everything in a postseason. But it is crazy how often the teams that skate the best, score the best, defend the best, also so often get the hot goaltenders. Right? If you can score 3 and let your goalie settle into a rhythm without a ton of pressure, right, because you're up 3-0, that gets your goalie going. If you're always depending on your goalie to go nuts, if you're always depending on your goalie to make a ton of high-leverage saves, that's a hard thing to do. It's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. And also, we've seen Freddy Anderson in the postseason. We've seen him in the regular season. I don't think it's a problem to hope and expect that you need to get Freddie a little bit more help, right? I don't think it's crazy that you have to go ahead and give him a little bit more help. Heaster Automotive Group hotline is open, 919-860-5326 for all of your Tuesday sounding off. Lionel is up next from Raleigh, wants to sound off on UNC. So that horn means the line is open, 919-860-5326. Lionel, you're up next. Go ahead and sound off on your Tar Heels.
All right. The Carolina been a classic program for a lifetime. And what's wrong with them? Something's wrong.
Good. You said it's a classy program?
Classic. Always has been for all their history. There's something wrong with them.
What do you mean something's wrong with them?
They can't win.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying they weren't being classy. Like they've been classy all those years, and now they're not.
They can't win.
They're not winning. I think. Well, first of all, it's a deep question. Before I give you my answer, I'll flip it back to you. When you're watching them, as somebody that obviously is following at least a little bit, what vibes, like what do you think is missing? What do you walk away unsatisfied with?
I think they recruited the wrong players.
Okay, and I'm just going to keep prying here. In what way? What players did they recruit that aren't bringing what you want?
Well, they're not rebounding correctly.
I think that's very true. I'm with you.
And they're not scoring enough points. Not scoring enough points.
All right. I appreciate it. Call back in anytime.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Phone lines are open. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. The reason why and by the way, Lionel, that great call, right? Like, I think that's how a lot of UNC fans are feeling right now. Like, something's wrong. The players aren't right, or the coach is not right, or this is not right. I think that's a very common kind of outlook, right? You're watching the games and going, that's not very fun for me to watch. Well, how do you fix it? That's also not my job. That is there. like I'm with that, but
that's what you're paid to do.
Yeah, exactly. Handsomely. Maybe not as much as Belichick, but hey, that's a story for another day. The reason why I pushed back is because there's so many different ways to skin a cat, right? There's so many different ways to win a basketball game. And the Heister Automotive Group hotline is open, 919-860-5326. Call in with whatever you want to sound off on. Looking at the UNC team, I've said this. You can be undersized and win basketball games, right? Because I think the gut instinct is to look at this team and go, you didn't recruit a true big. How are you expecting to replace Armando Bacot? How foolish are you to think you don't need to replace Armando Bacot with a guy to play his role? You can win undersized. You have to be a great shooting team, or you have to be an elite hustled team, right? You need every loose ball rebound because you're not going to get just like the true size rebounds. You also have to be an elite defensive team. There's it's one of those things where it's like, as long as you have 3 of these 4 things, you're good. You can be a great shooting team, a great decision-making team, a great defensive team, great size team. Have the size. If you have any 3 of those, you're good. Most games, the Tar Heels are walking away with, like, obviously 2 of them not there. They either aren't shooting great and they're small, or they're not hustling at an elite level and they're small, or they're, it's everything and they're not big enough. Small is probably the wrong word because, by human standards, they're all gigantic.
It's all relative.
But, when you're playing against a team with bigs, you're not getting the impact that they get from their size. Right? Even a game like the Stanford game, which I'm sure was wildly frustrating for UNC fans. Raynaud, that they're big, and I forget who the other guy, the other big man was. I can bring it up here real quick. Raynaud, the big, and the other 6'8" guy, Donovan Young, that's who it was, for Stanford. They didn't necessarily dominate as true big. They weren't back to the bucket, shoulder in your chest, layup and one, but they were blocking shots, and they were rebounding pretty well. And just a little advantage they get just from their size and strength ended up being something UNC couldn't overcome.
I think this is something I try to be intentional with during the season. At least try and go to one game as a non-media member, just to kind of get a pulse and just listen to fans and just sit amongst them, just to kind of hear what's going on. And leaving the UNC game on Saturday, it was a lot of people it felt like they weren't surprised that they lost. But I did hear a couple people say, hey, I get that we're unranked, but we should never lose to an unranked team at home.
Yes,
I heard
agree.
A lot of people say that. I was like, that's a good point. I think that just kind of gave me a snapshot of how people think about the program right now. We should not lose to unranked teams at home. I was like, yeah, North Carolina with their history shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Reggie in Stanford is up next, and we're going to get to him on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, but he wants to talk NFL playoffs. So here's a transition. For UNC, I'm going to use a Mike Tomlin quote. The standard is the standard. The standard doesn't get lowered because you don't have a big. The standard doesn't get lowered because the ACC is bad. The standard is the standard for UNC.
Their standard hangs in the rafters. There's a lot of banners up there.
The standard is the standard, and losing to Stanford at home, that's below standard. That's below what you expect for UNC, even in a bad year. So, yeah, fans have the right to be upset, just like the caller was a second ago. Reggie in Sanford wants to talk NFL playoffs here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, which, by the way, is open for all of you, 919-860-5326. Call in with your Tuesday sound-offs. Reggie in Sanford, go ahead and sound off. What do you want to say about the NFL?
You know, it never fails. Turnovers, costly turnovers results in, losses. Lions turned the ball over 4 times. Ravens turned the ball over like 3 to 4 times. Texans, ball security, and even last night. But anyway. Yeah, it still matters. Ball possession matters, and I think that's the summary of this past weekend.
First of all, I love the call. Appreciate it. Call back in anytime. 919-860-5326, Heister Automotive Group hotline. Yes, I'm with you. There's just one thing I want to add. You can't just sit on the ball and not take chances either, right? Because Houston did not turn the ball over. They still lost to Kansas City because they didn't make enough plays. So there is that fine line between kind of what the Lions were doing, which is let's run the double reverse pass by a wide receiver who's a known kind of sketchy decision maker who throws it and gets intercepted, and being too conservative, right? There's a reason why deep plays exist and deep throws exist, even though they're a little bit more risky. You can't just go no turnovers. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate the call. That's Reggie in Sanford there. It's the one thing I always push back on, right? Because when coaches take chances and the world goes, why would you do that? Because it ends up in a turnover. I'm always going you do have – you can't win poker without ever making a big bet, right? It's sometimes smart to check. But you're not going to win the whole thing that way. At a certain point, you got to go win a hand. You can be too aggressive, or you can be going all in with 7-4 offsuit on the third hand of the day. But at some point, you do have to kind of see what you're made of, and then you win or lose with the results. Speaking of teams that'll win or lose with the results, they win a whole bunch. We have Highway Joe, wants to talk NFL, wants to talk Chiefs. Highway Joe, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
So when are people actually going to start talking about the fact that, Patrick Mahomes, the referees work for him and Andy Reid, and the bogus calls that they've gotten this year more than any? It's just, it's in our face, just thrown at it, that these bad calls that are game decision calls, like against the Texans. When this past week, Troy Aikman said, oh, come on. 2 defenders were trying to lightly tackle Patrick Mahomes as he was sliding. They hit each other. Nobody touched Patrick Mahomes, and they threw a 15-yard penalty, and that extended the drive because that was a third and I think like 8 or 9. 15-yard penalty and the first down. They ended up scoring a touchdown. Without 2 horrible calls on their first 2 touchdown drives, the Chiefs don't win that game, just like, 8 of their other games maybe this season. When are we going to start acknowledging it? That it's happening.
I appreciate the call. I will. I'm going to postpone my official response to this one because I was listening to I think it was the Ryan Russillo. I'm going to find it during a commercial break, the Ryan Russillo pod, and he had a stat that basically said, fourth quarters, 3rd and 4th downs, and again, don't quote me on this, the Chiefs actually have way more penalties called against them than their opponents. So there is something to be said for the Chiefs win so darn often that we always look back on the calls that helped them win without looking back on the calls that maybe held them back from winning. I just don't want to speak like it's an authoritative, the refs are always helping them win without having the numbers to back that up. Does that make sense?
Well, it was either the Atlanta Falcons game this year or maybe it was the Bengals game. It was a blatant offsides on Kansas City. I mean, it was like two guys jumped offsides when they were in the red zone, fourth quarter. It was the game-winning touchdown that they scored. And
yes,
I mean,
but here's my point, though. Can you name any other referees call any other penalty from those games?
From those games,
probably
no,
not,
because,
right? So if there's a defensive hold or something called on the Chiefs that they overcame, we don't remember that if it's a bad call, right? So I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way. It might be true, but it's anecdotally, just like I watch the games and it seems like they always get the calls, it's smart to have the numbers before we start, accusing of things like the referees are in the pocket of or they work for Andy Reid.
Well, aren't two of the referees that were officiating the Houston game this past weekend, if I'm not mistaken, they are suspended and under investigation.
See, I can look that up. I don't know, and I don't want to co-sign.
That's what I saw this morning on CBS Sports on my app. So
refs that worked the Chiefs game are suspended and under investigation?
That's what it popped up on my CBS Sports news feed this morning.
I mean, I feel like that would. I'm surprised that didn't come across my purview if it's true. I do appreciate the call, and you are leading me into something that I can talk about for days. So call back in anytime, 919-860-5326 on a sound-off day. Today's a Tuesday sound-off. The Chiefs never get credit, and this is not me, ogling over the Chiefs. They never get credit for overcoming bad calls. They only get credit for the calls that help them win. And trust me, if you watch a game, not every call is obviously on their side. It's confusing, and I will find that stat from Russillo, and I'll bring it up at the top of the next hour just to make sure we're on the same page. Caleb in Chapel Hill, you are up next here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Wants to talk about the Canes on a Tuesday sound off. Caleb, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and sound off.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me on. Really love the show.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wanted to pick your brain on the whole JT Miller and Kane speculation that's been going around the past weekish.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of insiders, there's a lot of noise coming out of Vancouver. There was supposedly a trade with the Rangers that fell apart, and now it's kind of like the Canes are one of the teams in the mix for acquiring him. And Adam Gold talked about it on the show this morning, and it's kind of been all over Canes Twitter, and there's a big divide. Personally, I think if there's a chance to go get him, I think the Canes should. I think he makes the team better. He's certainly an upgrade in the, quote, second-line center position. He scored 103 points last year. He brings that edge that the Canes need, that physicality. There are the questions of, personality and, the noise that's coming out of Vancouver. And, of course, you have to make the money work.
Yep.
But he would make the team better, and I just think it's interesting that the Canes are involved in discussions about him, and I just kind of wanted to see what your thoughts were.
Thank you for the call, Caleb. I'll give you my quick thoughts on the subject. I believe he's due to make $8 million a year until he's 36 or 37 years old.
Yeah, he's under contract through the 29-30 season.
Which he is in his 30s now.
Yeah, he's 31 right now, and he's making $8 million a year. But here's the thing as well, he has a no-movement clause. So this is something that's things can get kind of tricky when it comes to having a no-movement clause. It cannot be traded, sent to the minors, put on waivers, or anything like that without approval by the player. So if you're going to acquire a player like JT Miller, Vancouver's going to have to eat a lot of that money, and you might have to, again, that's something that you might have to hold on to. You might be aging out at age 35, 36 years old, and that there's, diminishing returns, and you might not be able to get out of that contract.
There have been players.
Which would be very difficult.
There have been players in the past that are maybe not 100-point scorers, but have been very productive and proven in the Canes system that already kind of have adjusted to life on the Canes, that they haven't been willing to pay $8 million a year into their mid to late 30s. So while JT Miller as a hockey player may make sense, I mean, it would be an outlier move from the Canes to go ahead and do that.
I mean, the fit, I think, is good because he's
position need.
Need, the competitiveness that he brings, I think is all good. Just I don't know if that might be a short-term answer that might create a long-term problem.
It'd be really fun for the end of this year, though.
I mean, it would be for the end of this year, but that's also why there's conversation that even Elias Pettersson, who's 26 years old, might get moved. There's talks that Vancouver might be looking just to get rid of both of those guys.
And one thing I've learned about Eric Tulsky in our very short time tracking him as GM, not afraid to be in every conversation. Doesn't always have to be the one that makes it happen, but he'll be in the convo. Keep me posted, right? Let me know what's going on over there.
I just don't see it working.
I agree. Pat and Durham, you'll be our final Tuesday sound-off caller for today. To sound off on the Commanders, which I assume is going to be a bit of gloating, rightfully so. Pat, go ahead and take it away.
Hey, thanks for the line. Kind of to quote a Yogiism, it seems like deja vu all over again because I'm a State fan also, and we were supposed to be lousy, and we were in the Final Four, and it's the same thing with my Washington team. So, but the one thing that concerns me is before Hurts was put out in the first quarter, Barkley had 100 yards scoring, and it was 14-0. So, I mean, I hadn't heard a lot of experts mention that aspect of the Philly game, which Washington came back and won. But right now, with Daniels there, you got a chance. He's just that ball he threw on the right side. It just went with rainbow and went right in the guy's hands when the defensive guy had his hands over his eyes. That was amazing.
Yep, I'm with it.
Just nice to have a quarterback. And what's your opinion on all that stuff?
Appreciate the call. I'll give you my very, very quick thoughts here. One, I don't think there's anybody out there that is overlooking like, hey, that Sequan guy is good. He's really gosh darn good. And I mean, against Washington, the first time he had like a 70-yard touchdown or the whatever it was, end of December. He had a 70-yard touchdown. He had 2 long touchdowns this week for Philly. That offensive line opens up holes, and he fires through them. Also, no one is underestimating Jaden Daniels anymore. I don't know if anyone has more it factor as a rookie quarterback that I've ever seen. And De'Ami Brown, the UNC guy, was the one that caught the ball with kind of, hey, look, he's blindfolding me, and I'm still going to make the catch. I mean, it's very similar to Washington this past weekend. You look at a lot of the kind of individual positions, Washington's going to be at a disadvantage, but Jaden Daniels, man, he might be able to make it happen. We'll talk about that one more in a bit, in a minute. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was a little Tuesday sound off. This is Tim Donnelly for DraftKings Sportsbook. Playoffs? We're talking playoffs. You're darn right we're talking playoffs. It was an exciting weekend of NFL playoffs, and it is the perfect time going into this week of NFL playoffs to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. If your favorite team was eliminated, if they didn't make the playoffs, if they're done, one way to still get the juices flowing is to bet on players to score touchdowns. It is the simplest way, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. If you're ready to maybe place your first bet, betting on a player to score 6, that could happen. Jaden Daniels may be on the run. He had 81 rushing yards last week. Maybe he ends in the end zone a few times. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. If you're new to DraftKings, meaning new customers, you can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD at signup. That's TIMD with no spaces at signup, and new customers will get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. We have football at 4 coming up next, including a massive change that the ACC is contemplating. Stick around.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Here's Aho with a chance, and he scores! scores! And Sebastian Aho has tied it at 2.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 7:30. Puck drop at 8.
He scores! Jackson Blake gets the stick to it, and Carolina scores on the power play to take a 3-2 lead.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. Now through February 1st, Triangle Area Bojangles are donating all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry biscuit. You'll be doing some good and getting something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Homeowners, it's time to start fresh in 2025. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is here to help you take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payment and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto. Lock in a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. It's cold and some snow is on the way for parts of our viewing area. It's going to range anywhere from half an inch to an inch and a half. We have a winter weather advisory in effect from the Triangle south and east. It's not a lot of snow, but it's not going to take much to make the roads very slippery because of the cold temperatures. We dropped to 19 tonight, single-digit wind chills in the morning, so we have a cold weather advisory for first thing tomorrow.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 538 points to 44,026.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we jump into football at 4 and the ACC being innovative and smart and considering some cool stuff, I do want to go back to the caller who I promised some notes on the Chiefs and the prevailing thought that the Chiefs get all the help in the world from the refs. The two ones that I was jumped right into my brain. One came from Chase Daniel, works for Fox Sports, FS1. Chase Daniel has, since 2018, no team has more penalty yardage than Kansas City. They have the most penalty yardage of anyone in the league, and they are 29th in penalty yards differential, which means they've been docked 693 more yards than the teams they're playing. The Ryan Russillo number in the past 2 seasons, right, which is when the Chiefs get all the love, kind of rhetoric has grown the loudest. Kansas City opponents in the fourth quarter and overtime of one-score games. So these are like the game-changing penalties. In the fourth quarter and overtime of one-score games, Kansas City opponents have been flagged 48 times. The Chiefs have been flagged 47 times. So it is almost exactly 1-to-1. Now, I will say this also. Warren Sharp, who is one of the smarter analytic minds covering the NFL, does have an article out showing some of the playoff advantages. So in playoff games, the Chiefs seem to get a little bit of the benefit, or a lot of bit of the benefit. But the nuance there is if you have the lead and if you're more experienced, wouldn't that lead to less penalties, right? And it's a smaller sample size. So there's conversation there. I just don't want to speak as if it is a foregone conclusion that the referees are obviously helping Kansas City when the numbers might not say as much. Fair? Because I feel like a lot of you watch the game, it's like, geez, Mahomes got another one? Like, it does feel like that, even if the numbers might not show it.
Obviously, we're going to get to ACC football, but I think a lot of people are just sick and tired of the flopping bit. Like,
I agree with that, too.
Like, let's not, slow down here at the sideline. I get touched by 2 guys. I'm going to throw my arms up like I got shot or something. I'm like, dude, this isn't – you're not James Harden. Stop. Get that soft crap out of here.
I'm very much with that as long as you give the same vitriol to Josh Allen. Because Josh Allen –
I don't like any of it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's the Chiefs – people watch. So everybody notices. Josh Allen, I'm telling you, you can go find highlight films of him flopping on Twitter, and they're like 4 minutes long of him throwing his arms and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's just I'm all for getting rid of flopping. I'm all for getting everything James Harden stood for like those 5 years in Houston where he was breaking records at the free throw line. Get that out of sports entirely. Just get it out of sports entirely, not
Give
just from the
Mahomes
good
2
team.
minutes for embellishment.
I like it.
Give him 2 minutes for embellishment. You can't play the next 2 minutes.
Go ride the Carson Wentz train for 2 minutes a few times and see how quickly Mahomes stops flopping. All of a sudden, he's going to be trucking guys and staying on his feet. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's get to Football at 4, presented by Wake Med. Football for the ACC is open, and I'm going to give you the details on what they're considering, but I'm just going to say it like it is. They are open to gaming the system for the new college football playoff structure. They looked at the way this 12-team playoff was ran. They looked at how it broke down and said, I think we can game the system, especially if one of the rumored changes happens. One of the main changes that is expected for the CFP next year, no automatic buys for conference champions. Right? If that happens, so the Boise State, Arizona State buys don't happen, they just go to whoever the top 4 teams are in the rankings, and automatically qualifying is all that conference champions get. The ACC is ready to pounce. They're ready to jump all over that and say, this isn't in the best spirit of competition, but it's in the best spirit of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Jim Phillips, in speaking with the media, said over the weekend, the ACC could consider giving its regular season champion a bye and not putting them in the conference championship, and have the teams that finish second or third in league standings play in the ACC championship game. It is gaming the system 100%, right? Because if teams aren't hurt for not playing in a conference championship game, which we learned this year they're not, right? Teams that didn't make a conference championship or teams like Notre Dame that don't have a conference championship were not hurt by not playing in a conference championship game. Then taking someone that is already in the top, say, 8 and removing them from your conference championship game guarantees they make it into the CFP. And if you have 2 teams that are maybe outside the top 11, one of them will get the conference championship game automatic bid into the ACC. I think they should take it one step further. Anyone in the top 8 gets a bye. Anyone in the CFP rankings, top 8 before the conference championship, gets a bye, and they can start booking travel. And the 2 teams that are furthest out or next out, right, say they're ranked 14th and 18th, they get to play for an automatic bid. ACC maximizes their entries. Is it in what's best interest for the sport? No. Is anyone else operating as if it's in the best interest for the sport? No. Everyone's out for their conference. Go ahead and do what you have to do. He also said another possibility is having the top 4 teams play on the final weekend of the regular season. First place versus fourth, second versus third, and the winners play the following weekend for the ACC championship game, which would obviously give teams a chance for more marquee wins later in the season. Creative, I don't know if I love it, but I like the spirit behind it. Now, before I guarantee I'm going to hear this blowback. What about the conference championship game meaning something? Listen, I love the tradition of college sports. Love it. I love the tradition of college football. Love it. I love it all. The rivalries. I was very upset when the Pac-12 broke down. I was very upset when Washington and Washington State split up. I don't like that Texas and Oklahoma aren't in the Big 12. I'm for it. I want the tradition. The first conference championship game ever was played in 1992. The first ACC championship game ever, the first Atlantic Coast Conference championship game in the history of the world, came out a year after Shrek 2 in 2005.
It's a good time.
Not even the first Shrek, where you're like, okay, some of that animation does look. The second Shrek. The not even Ocean's 12 came out in 2004. Ocean's 13 came out sometime after. The ACC championship game debut was 2005. This ain't one of the traditions where it's like, my grandpappy used to love watching the ACC championship. He didn't. I was in high school when the ACC championship game debuted. At least in 8th grade, depending on what time, That's not something that we have to worry about. There's a lot more we have to protect in college sports than the conference championship game. If you can manipulate your conference championship game to make the ACC set up in a better spot, do it. Do it. Protect the ACC over the ACC championship game, I'll put it that way. You fall too behind in football, you're going to find yourself like the Big East. And, yeah, they win national championships in basketball. Shout out to Villanova and UConn. But the money ain't there because football ain't there. Football at 4, presented by Wake Med today. Shout out to Wake Med, and shout out to Jim Phillips for being ahead and creative on something. We'll see if they go ahead and execute it for the ACC.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Do you think the TV networks are going to go, wait a second, we signed up for the 2 best in the conference, not second and third? Because who's going to tune, because that's the thing, there's the money aspect of it as well that we have to take into consideration when it comes to all this.
Perhaps, except for the fact that, Miami was better than SMU this year. You know what I mean?
Yes, but
the in-conference play record and, I guess they could put their foot down on it, but I wouldn't even be surprised if they won a game that means more, right? If you have 2 teams, for example, if they take away the first round bye, this past year the Big Ten championship meant nothing. I wonder if TV contracts wouldn't love to be all right, instead of a game where you might rest your starters, why? Because it's already set week 18 in the NFL. Give me 2 teams that are playing to advance their season and see what happens. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not involved in those contract negotiations, and the ACC doesn't want to do anything that gives ESPN or Disney the right to look at that grant of rights at all. But there's something there. There's something there, and also it would 100% raise the value of the ACC. I'm sure the next year on all the ACC games, they'd like to have teams that were in the CFP more than teams that were not. Right, just raise the eyeballs. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. How about this, everybody? The Blancpain 50 Fathoms watch is quite literally, or some would describe it as, the grandfather to all modern dive watches. So think of all the iconic dive watches that you love, right? The ones that scuba divers use, the ones that the military of across the world that goes in the water and does all the crazy stuff down there, the ones that they use, you could trace them kind of all back to Blancpain and the 50 Fathoms. Wouldn't it be cool to have that kind of history, which also looks awesome, on your wrist? If that's the case, head down to Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. They have the Blanc Pond display right there in the main display room, the main showcase room. You won't have to be directed to it, but because it'll just draw your eye and you'll walk there. But if you want to learn more, talk to one of the many extremely informed and watch crazy like the rest of us are workers at Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Mickey, the timepiece manager, can definitely help you out. All of the innovation of a legendary 50 Fathoms watch with the modern dive watch components. It's a pretty sweet piece of history to put on your wrist, and it's all available in addition to many other awesome timepieces at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, their Village District location. Make sure when you're there, you let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break. When we come back, ladder challenge between Dennis and I, still rolling, and we have to get to the podium. Who won the week of the 4 ACC teams from the state of North Carolina? Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
And that is my fear about Duke this year, is that they're going to get to the tournament and they're going to come up against a team in the Sweet 16 that has gone through a gauntlet in the SEC or the Big 10 or the Big 12, and that team ain't going to be afraid.
Mm-hmm. They'll have the scars.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Hello, I'm John Heister for John Heister Chevrolet in Fuquay Arena. And you know, people are asking us, how are you selling so many cars all of a sudden? Well, did you know that the Beltline has opened up the outer loop? We're only 28 minutes from Knightdale. We're only 19 minutes from Clayton and 15 minutes from Apex. We're now the most convenient Chevrolet dealership to reach in the Triangle. And the best part is, you don't have to traverse the inner city traffic. It's just one more reason to get off your keister and come to Heister.
Together, let's drive.
What's this?
We're expanding the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club.
That's a pretty big wrecking ball.
Well, with all these new scratch-offs, this place is going to be packed with new winners. Okay, let's go ahead and knock this wall down. This is where we're putting the polo field. Whoa, patience, Trixie.
This month's tickets are loaded with $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 3.31 to 4.55. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Shop can't miss deals going on now during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. For a limited time, get a free adjustable stand when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch miter saw. That's a $229 value. Plus, save $680 on a Midea 4-piece kitchen appliance suite. Now just $17.96. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 1/13 through 1/24. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. While supplies last. See store or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
Progressive knows we all crave validation.
Girl, you are not 37.
I would have guessed 27.
You guys are too sweet.
Sure. Dewy skin. Terrific.
Is something wrong, Ned?
Why would you ask? Just because today marks my 10th anniversary without a car accident or even a speeding ticket? But somehow, tonight's all about your skincare.
Wow. With Snapshot from Progressive, you can get a personalized rate based on how you drive. And that's all the validation you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Save no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
It's the new year. Time to make a positive change in your life.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted. Not available in Washington State.
Finney got rejected by Cooper inside, and he's fired up. And here's James the other way. A crossover up top Cooper. Feeling it. Sizing it up. Sends it to the right. Evans a three. Count it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was Duke over the weekend, still undefeated in the ACC. I have a feeling we know where they'll be on the podium, but the rest of it, up for grabs. Some tough decisions to make. We will announce the podium in a minute, but we have to get to the ladder challenge. This is, I believe, the furthest I've made it in a ladder challenge, so I'm now jinxing myself, but I don't believe in superstition, so it's all good. Dennis, are you still alive?
You darn right I am.
All right. For those of you out there that are new, the ladder challenge is simple. Dennis and I each day take one likely to win bet, -500 to -1,000 for my gamblers out there. We started with $10. We roll it over every day, and hopefully through the glory of kind of the same logic of compound interest, by the end of the month, if we win and win and win and win and win and don't get tripped up, we'll have a nice chunk of change. Whoever has the most money at the end of the month is the winner. We started with $10. I am up to $27.24 after a win over the weekend. We'll get to that in a second. But Dennis, as the leader, as the leader in the clubhouse, if you will, you get to lead off.
So I actually had Canes +2.5 at -875 against the Vegas Golden Knights on Friday. And, of course, they won, so that makes it even better. So I'm up to $36.90. Straight cashing in over here.
Straight cash home?
Where have I made my money, Tim?
Hockey, there's two ways.
Hockey.
Let me explain to everybody Dennis's little MO.
Mm-hmm.
He either finds a high leverage, high output scorer in hockey and takes them over either 1.5 or 2.5 shots on goal in the game, or he finds a team that he thinks is playing well against a team that he thinks is not playing well and teases it down so the favorite is +2.5, and he thinks that hook, the 2.5, keeps him a little insulated from things like empty net goals, and he rolls with that, and he's had an unbelievable amount of success with it.
And that's exactly what I'm doing today again, Tim. The Tampa Bay Lightning.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
They just lost yesterday 5-3 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they're going to bounce back because they got to play the Montreal Canadiens tonight. Give me the Tampa Bay Lightning +2.5 at -775. So that $36.90 will turn into $41.60, Tim.
41, looking to 4x your money.
Hey, I've gotten, what was it? You got to like
8 or 10 times.
I think I
you were
over 10.
Going for 10 when it ended up not going.
Maybe. No, I think I got above it.
Maybe. I'm not going to deny it. It was definitely a heater. But what you did do is at the end of the month when you could have stopped and cashed out, you couldn't help it and you kept it rolling.
I just want to see how long it would go.
Yeah. I get it. I've been there. Not on air, though. Right now, for me, I'm up to $27.24. I had Lamar Jackson, 25 or more rushing yards versus Buffalo. Wasn't pretty, but he finished with 39. Easy hit. I actually think one of the huge flaws in the Ravens' kind of game plan there was they did not have any designed runs for Lamar Jackson.
They just kind of stopped running.
Yeah, exactly. The yards he got were all on scrambles, and I'm going to use the same analogy I used earlier. If you have a Ferrari in the garage, drive it every now and then. The guy runs fast, to keep it simple. But either way, 39, still a kind of a no-sweat hit for me. Tonight, I'm looking at the Wake Forest UNC men's basketball game in Winston-Salem. Wake Forest +12.5. I'm teasing them down from a 1-point favorite all the way down to +12.5. It's -910. Wake hasn't lost to a non-ranked team since mid-November. UNC's kind of reeling right now. Wake Forest at home is a different beast than Wake Forest even on the road. So give me Wake Forest plus the 12.5. Even if UNC wins, I don't see them winning by 13. Just would be a very big change for both of these teams. Wake Forest on like a 5-game win streak. UNC just lost to Stanford. 27-24 would turn into $30.20. I mentioned it's a -910 bet, so looking to 3x my money. That's where we stand. I'm going to need Dennis to mess up before the end of the month anyway, so no reason for me to push like -500 bets. I'm going to get as close to -1,000 as I can. There you go. That's the ladder challenge. We'll track it, see what's happening tomorrow. Now let's get to the podium. Couple of teams that I just had in my My ladder challenge will be on the podium somewhere. The podium, the way it works, it is a 1-week bet. It is not cumulative. We are looking at the 4 teams from the state of North Carolina in the ACC. You know who they are, the 3 in the triangle, and up there in Winston-Salem, Wake Forest. 1 is off the podium, 1 gets the bronze, 1 gets the silver, 1 gets the gold, and it is all based on what you've done in the last week. We'll start off the podium. It's NC State. And, I mean, if there were a lower, if there were, 7th out of 4, I think that would track. I'm putting this out there into the universe. State's in panic mode. Whatever panic alarm, panic button you have, sound it, right? Sound it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Losing to Cal is bad. Losing to Cal to make it 3 straight losses after bad losses to UNC and Virginia Tech is worse. Losing to Cal to drop to 2-5 in the ACC with your only wins being overtime over Florida State a month and a half ago and by one in kind of a I don't want to say got lucky, but you kind of stole one from the jaws of defeat against Notre Dame. That's panic mode. You're not executing well down the stretch. When the chips are down, you're not finding a way to win. That's panic mode. Kevin Keats talks about finishing games, the head coach, and the need for consistency.
Like, we have to get consistent. And the tough thing about it is, what I mean is consistent and then get mentally and physically tough to finish some of these games. And our biggest issue right now is we may have 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys play well versus UVA, and then a couple guys don't play well. Then it flips. You get Cal, and then, JT may play well, then maybe another guy. And so what we're trying to do is figure out how do we get consistent play from everybody as a coach when you go into the game.
Do you know what's crazy about that? I got you, right? All right, this guy plays well, that guy plays well. It's not consistent. Well, what about this? Pretty much no matter who plays well for NC State, it's a 1-possession game at the end of the game, right? You're not out of it. Your last 4 games and 5 of your last 6 have been 1-score games, have finished within a 3-point bucket of flipping the odds or flipping the outcome. If you got 1 guy playing well, let that 1 guy have the ball with at the end. I don't know how else to say this, but you're close enough to win these games. It's about execution down the stretch. It's about finding a way. And if you can't do that, if you're not going to do that, I mean, you're gonna flirt with starting the day 1 of the ACC tourney and or worse. That's NC State off the podium. Bronze, a 1-week award. Bronze goes to UNC. They beat Cal at home 79-53, which kind of was the culmination of a week and a half, 2 weeks, where I was like, look at this. They're putting it together. Friday, I was darn near excited to see what UNC was going to do against Stanford. I was like, here's the next test. Right? You've started putting things together. Now you get a team with a 7-footer who's good in Raynaud, and you get to prove that size is not your kryptonite, which you kind of did. You kind of proved that size wasn't your kryptonite because Raynaud's size didn't kill you. He shot wildly inefficient, 24 shots to get us 25 points. You lost the rebounding battle by 1. I think it was 31-32. You won points in the paint. You had more points in the paint than Stanford did. Size wasn't your kryptonite. Turns out you had other weaknesses. Turns out your perimeter scoring wasn't efficient enough. Turns out you couldn't shoot from 3. Turns out there were other things to deal with, things I thought you were ready to build off of. Hubert Davis, the head coach of UNC, thinks it's the small things, all the small things. To quote Blink-182, not Hubert Davis. Hubert Davis thinks it's too many small things, small mistakes versus Stanford.
I felt like today it wasn't one thing. I felt like it was a number of just little details that just mistakes that we made throughout the entire game, whether it be on both ends of the floor, whether it was execution defensively out of bounds underneath, ball screen coverage, closeouts, take-two guy, and then on the offensive end, turnover, shot selection, execution, being in the right spots. And so I just felt like it was a culmination of little things.
I'm going to paraphrase what we said earlier. UNC's program has high expectations, and rightfully so. Their standard is what their standard is. The bar is high because you are UNC. It's why you go there. Can't lose to Stanford, this year's Stanford team at home. Silver goes to Wake Forest. They beat Stanford by 13 to kind of illustrate what UNC just lost to. They also won at Virginia Tech. That's a road win for Wake. You take those any way you can get them. 72-63. They're a veteran squad that's kind of putting it together at the right time. They're on a nice little winning streak here, and they play UNC tonight. So they'll somebody's going to get a jump start on next week's podium tonight. Either Wake or UNC. We'll talk about that game a little bit later on in the show. And then to jump to Duke, but before we do, Duke was the gold medalist, by the way. Before we talk Duke, we do have Kane's first goal scorer coming up in about 3.5 minutes. So quickly, start thinking about who's going to score the first goal for the Canes and in what period they will score that first goal, and get ready to dial it in. We have a sweet prize going to anyone that can get it right on when we take callers in a second. Gold, Duke. They beat Miami at home 89-53. They won at Boston College 88-63 after kind of a slow start. We talk about win and. What else can they prove to us in wins? Because there are certain games where they're just going to be favored by 20+, and they could play poorly and win by 12. I think they stumbled into a win and against Boston College. The test against Boston College was, can you win if your number 2 scorer is ice cold? Guess how many points Con Knippel, who, by the way, ESPN's big board, has gotten up to the number 6 NBA draft prospect. Guess how many points Con Knippel scored against Boston College? 0. None. And guess what? No issue. No problem. Tyrese Proctor scores a season-high 20. Isaiah Evans, who's one of our, I don't know, the Dean's List kind of like honors, right? He's been on there more than anybody else because he just stays ready off the bench. Had 16, knocked down, I think it was 4 of 9 from 3, which is volume that he doesn't normally get, but sensing the moment, stepping up, knocking it down. Duke made it so it wasn't an issue. And then there's this Cooper Flagg guy, wildly efficient, 28 points. That's going to help you a lot if other guys go cold. John Shire, head coach, on the best ways to utilize Cooper Flagg.
You learn as it goes on, but also he just keeps getting better. And he started off the year great, but he's hit just a new level of what he's doing and his assertiveness. And he's I don't know how many guys I've coached, but he's as good as any of them in terms of wherever you put him, he's going to do something really good. It's just a matter of timing and situation and matchups and all that.
Timing, situation, yeah, that's kind of what we know about that guy. 28 points when Con Knippel is cold, that makes sense. There will be games where he thinks something else is more important, and he'll do a little bit of that. Do you know what's actually funny? And it's funny for me because I do a lot of NFL draft kind of analysis on my own. I don't like comps. I don't like when you're like, this player is the next because, first of all, you have to use somebody everybody knows, which is just genuinely unfair. Nobody's ever like, this receiver reminds me a lot of Brian Hartline with the Dolphins, because people are like, what was he like with the Dolphins again? You always have to say, like, he's the next Julio, because that's who everybody knows. People have no idea who to comp Cooper Flagg to. No clue. I've seen KD. I've seen Jason Tatum. I've seen, like, I don't know, a whole bunch of different names, and I'm going like, really? I don't see that one, but who? All right, who do you see then? I'm like, don't know that one either. I know he's scoring a lot, and he's doing a lot of other stuff pretty darn well. So I guess players that do that, which, again, a little broad. But it's fun to watch all the draft analysts try. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As promised, it is time for our first goal scorer predictions. Who will score the first goal of the game tonight for the Canes against Dallas on the road on the second of a back-to-back? If you get the name right, the player, and the period, you get an ultimate sim racing experience from Apex Racing Lab. I'll give you more details on that in a second. But first, the phone line is open, 919-860-53 888-626. Call in with who you think will score the first goal and in what period you think they will score it. Canes players only. Don't be funny and pick a Dallas Star. 919-860-5326. Line open now. We'll take 3 official contestants. If any of them get it right, the ultimate sim racing experience, Apex Racing Lab gift certificate coming your way. Rev up your engines at Apex Racing Lab, the Triangle's largest sim racing destination. Experience the ultimate thrill with 20 cutting-edge simulators, expert instructors, and world-class virtual tracks. Located in Carey's McGregor Village in Greater Raleigh, visit Apex Racing Lab today and unleash your racing passion. Learn more at Apex Racing Lab. Once again, that is Apex Racing Lab.
By the way, shout out to Susie from Holly Springs on Friday. Got Jarvis in the second. Nailed it.
That's a tough, great prediction. Picking Jarvie in the second and it coming true, that's excellent. Way to go, Susie. Apex Racing Lab experience coming your way. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2. Let's see if we can start a streak. I don't know if we've ever had a streak.
I think only like 3 or 4 people have won in total.
I want a streak here, and we're going to start. First opportunity goes to David in Raleigh. David, who scores the first goal of the game for the Canes, and in what period?
Believe it or not, I'm going to go with Jarvie in the second.
Jarvie in the second. Just, it worked for her, so why not?
Yeah, I know we can't score in the first. It hasn't happened in several games.
That's fair.
And so, yeah, he's been relatively hot. So we'll stay with the hot hand.
All right, Jarvis in the second. David, you're locked in. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. Gus and Carey, you're next up on the line. Gus, who scores the first goal for the Canes and in what period?
I'm going to go with Svetch in the second.
Svetch in the second. Do you want to give any more details? Is it power play? Is it a lacrosse goal?
5-hole.
5-hole. All right. I like that as a detail. That's just for bragging rights. All you need to get is Svetch and second period correct for the win. Stay on the line. Dennis will grab some info from you. And finally, Andrew and Raleigh, you are our last official contestant. Who you going with and in what period?
All right, I'm going to have to go with Roslovic in the second.
Roslovic in the second. Explain your methodology. How'd you end on Jack Roslovic?
Well, I've been so close twice that I called in here, and he got an assist both times, but didn't score the first goal. So I'm feeling the mojo, feeling good. It's going to happen today.
All right, appreciate the call, Andrew. Stay on the line. I like that. He's creating the goals. He's just not getting the back of the net. One of these days, it's going to happen. I like that.
A couple YouTube submissions here.
All right.
Jacob says Jarvis in the second after a hard-fought 0-0 first period.
Okay. At least that's as optimistic as you can get for, like, this team can't score in the first.
But it's going to be 0-0.
But also I'm a Canes fan, so neither will the other team.
Also, Travis says we are going to have a Marty party. Jordan Martinook late in the first period stuffs a loose puck.
Well, that would track for Marty. By the way, everybody, if you did not get in as an official contestant on the call-in line, you are welcome to make your predictions on our YouTube comments. 99.9 The Fan live stream. You can go ahead and just find it there right in the comments. Dennis peruses those. If you get them right, we'll give you a shout-out for being correct, giving you the bragging rights, even though you won't be eligible for the Apex Racing Lab prize. Also, our jokes are now reality. Right, I don't know if we've done the joking on air as much, but with the slow starts the Canes have been piling up around the office, we have been doing a lot of like, I wonder when we're going to stop completely guessing in the first period. I wonder when we're going to start completely saying second or third period because the Canes don't score in the first. Started as like, yuck, yuck, yuck. We just had 3 predictions, David, Gus, and Andrew, excuse me. And every one of them picked second period. The Canes are such slow starters that their fans are calling in. They're being optimistic, right? Jarvis is hot, right? Svetch goes 5-hole. Roslovic scores in the second to open the scoring for the Canes, but it's after a hard-fought 0-0, or that was actually from the comments. It's after a hard-fought 0-0 first period. Like, they're being optimistic and can't even talk themselves into a first period goal. Canes need to figure out what is holding them back from quicker, hotter starts. Because that's important, right? You can't just spot a team a goal. seemingly every game. Even if it's not every game, it seems that way. Dennis, now that you've gathered the info, go ahead and give us your first goal scorer prediction.
I'm a little torn on this one. I think we kind of go off the cuff under the radar here.
That's the exact opposite of what I'm doing.
I know. Jalen Chatfield.
Oh, I love a chatty goal.
Jalen Chatfield late in the first period. Jumps up in the little rush, makes it a 3-on-2. Rebound pops out to him, buries it. Jalen Chatfield in the first.
All right, I'm going to tell you a quick story here. I worked, my first job in like full-time job in radio was selling radio ads for a rock music station. And I was, at the time, not a very big rock music fan. A lot of other genres, but at the time hadn't quite had that opened up to my eyes yet. And our program director showed up, right? And he's talking to the new sales guy. And he goes, "You big rock fan? What are you going to say in that situation?" "You darn right I am."
Great rivalry of Stone Cold.
Love it. Yeah, exactly. Rock Cartwright? I don't know, just picking stuff. I'm like, massive. Yeah, rock, man. Woo, rock and roll. He's like, "Oh, who's your favorite band?" I was like, uh-oh, he's going deep here. For whatever reason, Nirvana. Threw it out there.
Okay.
He goes, "All right, yeah. What's your favorite song?" This is tough. I panicked. I went, "Smells Like Teen Spirit." But I know that's like saying, your favorite, Queen song is Bohemian Rhapsody, but I just like it, man. What do you want me to do? And he was like, "No, you know what? Premier songs that everybody knows a band for, the reason why they're premier songs that everybody knows them for is because they're really good songs. If you like the song, that's your favorite." And I left going like, somehow pulled that off.
Nailed it.
I say all that to say this. Aho in the first.
All right, there it is.
Aho in the first.
Let's go.
I mean, it's Aho, and it's in the first.
Let's go.
It's Bohemian Rhapsody. It smells like Teen Spirit. Sometimes
Stairway to Heaven. Here we go.
Exactly. Sometimes it just, there's a reason why everybody likes the song. You don't have to hide from it. Aho in the first. That's what I'm going with. Be nice to get him started early as well. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we jump to some NFL news, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Don't go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as one day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free rate quote with no hard credit pull. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It was a solid weekend of NFL football, and one superstar is going to have a really, really annoying offseason. I'll tell you who next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The Green Bay Packers simply couldn't beat the elite talent in the NFC. They were winless against the Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings, and now the Eagles. Lost 2 games to both of those teams. They were good. They were not good enough. That, to me, is the story of the Green Bay Packers this season. So it was a good season, not a great one.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Is your plumbing outdated or just not getting the job done? Call Newcomb & Company to see how we can help get your home operating at peak performance. Our experienced plumbers can repair or replace faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. Now through February 1st, Triangle Area Bojangles are donating all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry biscuit. You'll be doing some good and getting something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
It's 2025, and it's time to get your home zero-resified by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Get 3 rooms zero-resified starting at just $109 and take $100 off your air duct cleaning as well. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com.
Hurts takes his position in the shotgun. Saquon Barkley on his right hip. Has the snap. Gives. Barkley bounces it. Left side breaks it. There he goes. Saquon off to the races. Dashing through the snow. All gas, no brakes, game over.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. That Saquon run, if the Eagles go on to like win the whole thing, that's going to be the one that leads the DVD. If you watch the slow motion video from the end zone, kind of looking back at Saquon, the thing you could watch it 10 times and see something different every time. Lane Johnson, the offensive lineman, isn't even watching. Soon as Saquon breaks into the open, turns and walks to the sideline. He's like, he's got it from here. We've sent Saquon off into the wilderness. He'll take it from here. You watch Jalen Hurts, arms go up, enjoying it, right? Quarterback like in a rushing touchdown. A little team stuff there when you only throw for like 130 yards. Landon Dickerson, the offensive lineman, in the snow falling. It's almost like his arms out looking up. Like if he were 7 years old, he'd be like tongue out trying to catch a snowflake, right? Just looking to the heavens. Saquon, for some reason, starts like open hand smacking himself in the face, which in slow motion looks really cool, and I don't know why. It's just it was one of those kind of like, game sealing runs. You know what else is pretty cool? We have some tickets to give away before we get to more NFL talk. Text keyword music to 919-860-5326. That's music, M-U-S-I-C, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Lil Wayne, Wheezy, with special guests Quavo and Anella at the Lenovo Center on March 15th. Text keyword music to 919-860-5326. in order to potentially win a pair of tickets to see Wheezy, Lil Wayne, Lil Wheezy, former member of the Hot Boys, Cash Money, Young Money. We could go on.
Hey, Hot Boys got back together. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is if you went back to my high school or college locker room, number one on the most played chart, Lil Wayne. So there's some nostalgia there. If you're going to go, bring the energy. If you win the tickets, I need you to know every line. And then go there and chill and lay back and rap every word. Be cool. Represent us well. Keyword music to 919-860-5326. Let's look towards the NFL. Lamar Jackson is going to have a really, really annoying offseason. We still get to have an awesome AFC championship game, by the way. Josh Allen versus Mahomes. That's boded well for us in the past. But Lamar is going to get the flack for not winning in the postseason. Mark Andrews' drop and fumble, kind of two separate plays there that I don't have to explain to anyone that's a football fan, probably impacted the loss more, but Lamar turned it over twice, And that's all it takes for a quarterback to get the heat, and you know that when you sign up for the position. Lamar, after the game, by the way, talked about turnovers playing a factor. And this is what it sounded like coming up here in a hot second.
Like I've been saying all season, every time we're in situations like this, turnovers play a factor. Penalties play a factor. Tonight, the turnovers, we can't have that and that's why we lost the game, because as you can see, we're moving the ball wonderfully. It's hold on to the ball. I'm sorry for my language, but it's annoying. I'm tired of this
Yeah, he should be mad. First of all, the interception, I don't care if it was a miscommunication or whatever it was. The safety was over the top. It's bad throw. And yes, when the guy can catch it like he's catching a punt, it looks worse for the quarterback.
Yeah, it's like
when you're when you're backpedaling, like getting under it like a 9-year-old in the outfield. That's going to be tough. And the fumble just can't have it. Not where they were on the field. Not with how it was already a play that had gone sideways due to the snap. Mitigate the damage and live to play another day.
And Mark Andrews had a turnover as well, along with that drop.
Mark Andrews, he's also not having a great offseason. But the thing is, we stopped talking about tight ends about 2 weeks after the season. Quarterbacks will be in the middle of June debating places in history, and Lamar is just going to have this hanging over his head. Nothing you can do about it. Not until next year. Both the Ravens and the Bills, I would put in Kane's territory. You can't prove anything to us in the regular season. You're only judged by what you do in the postseason, which would put Lamar and Josh Allen in the same spot as Aho or Svetch or whoever else you want to put as kind of the card-carrying members of the core for the Canes. Josh Allen talked about advancing to the AFC Championship game. This is what he had to say after beating Lamar and the Ravens.
It's what we've worked for is an opportunity to play another week. We don't want our season to end on a loss, and this gives us an opportunity to keep going, but we'll enjoy this one. A lot to learn from this one. Obviously wasn't pretty, but these playoff games, man, you got to win by one. That's all that matters.
Getting the MVP will almost make it worse for Lamar. I think he's going to win MVP, and as soon as that MVP is handed to him, it's just going to be choke artist and everything else. You know who's not going to have the choke artist label? Jaden Daniels. Washington Commanders fans, take the victory lap, man. Jaden Daniels is a masterclass in the stuff you cannot teach about quarterbacking. And do you know what else it is? I have never been on this side. I'm wondering if guys don't start using up all their eligibility no matter what as quarterbacks. The NFL might be so non-developmental that you stay in college as long as you can. You want to hear something crazy? Jaden Daniels is 24. C.J. Stroud is 23.
Yeah.
Bryce Young is 23.
Mm-hmm.
He's the new hot thing there. C.J. Stroud's been the new hot thing and then fallen off. And then in the postseason, people are like, oh, he's a winner. Bryce Young has been down. He's been up. He's been way, way, way down. He's been up. Like, they've really been in the NFL for a while. Jaden Daniels, partially because he wasn't the NFL draft pick that he was, after his final year before that. But he's played a little bit more. He's gotten more starts. And I'm not sure if you don't see Bryce Young in the future be like, no, I'm going to play another year at Alabama.
By the way, Joe Burrow's older than Sam Darnold.
Same deal there. Joe Burrow stepped into the NFL with swag and turning a bad franchise around. It might be an age thing. And I've not been on that side in the past. But, I don't know how you don't watch Jaden Daniels and go, how did he end up like that? Let's try to do that. Jaden Daniels after the game and believing in what that team could do.
I always believe that we could achieve more than what people give us credit for. But, you got to go out there, put in the work. You got to go out there, work daily, get better each and every day. And just put your head down and grind. And by the end of the time of the season, you look up, you might be in a position like this.
He had more it factor than everyone on the Lions combined. And that's crazy to say because the Lions roster is so stacked. Granted, dealing with a bunch of injuries, defense wasn't what it could be when healthy. But, man, Jaden was impressive. Mahomes and the Chiefs. Let's talk Mahomes and the Chiefs. Guess who they are? Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's exactly who they are. I don't know. Kelsey woke up and they won an ugly game. Texans, I don't think you're going to beat the Chiefs just being recklessly kind of like dink and dunk. You're going to have to make some plays. They had no turnovers, which kept it close, but also they weren't taking enough chances. So it's like, what do you think you're going to beat them with? You brought a knife to a gun party, metaphorically. Like, the Chiefs are going to execute well down the stretch. They're too experienced. And then lastly, talking about Philly, I do think Philly benefited from the weather. It's a conversation I want to have at some point. I've always been team you play football in the elements. I do think it's kind of weird that, like, all season you can play the game one way, and then the most important game of the year, it's like, oh, yeah, almost impossible to pass. It's like, wait a second. Our advantage is passing. This doesn't seem fair. It's just weird to me. I'm not sure I'm fully like dome every team or dome every game, every stadium, but it did feel kind of strange. It's like, passing moves everything until like week 16, and then it might be impossible. It's tough. Stafford was dangerous, though. Need to see more from Jalen Hurts. Stafford was dangerous. Saquon Barkley in that offensive line. I saw somebody that said, I know every Saquon game's timeline. 60-yard touchdown, bunch of nothing, long touchdown to put it away. I was like, well, that sounds like a 25-carry, 180-yard day. Like, you're downplaying that? Like a long touchdown to set the tone, a bunch of body blows to tire him out, and then he seals it with another long touchdown. You're negating that? That sounds like a pretty good day. That's how you end up with, 2,000 yards rushing and a chance to go after the record, which they didn't do. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Overall, a good day. Overall, I think we have two pretty solid conference championship games to watch, and we'll see how it goes. We have the starting five coming up next, and we have a bunch to get to. Canes tonight, Dallas, which you can hear right here, 99.9 The Fan. A coaching decision that I think should continue to build a rivalry. Panthers involved. Next.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Here's Aho with a chance, and he scores! And Sebastian Aho has tied it at 2.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 7:30. Puck drop at 8.
He scores! Jackson Blake gets the stick to it, and Carolina scores on the power play to take a 3-2 lead.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
You know what makes every diamond unique and special are its 4 C's. Its cut, clarity, color, and carat weight. But do you know what makes Diamonds Direct special and unique? It's our own 4 C's. The first C, concept. Diamonds Direct has revolutionized jewelry shopping by eliminating middleman markups and giving you direct access to the world's finest diamonds straight from the diamond cutters. The second C, choice. Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection of precious diamonds is unparalleled. And with over 4,000 designer settings to choose from, you are empowered to make a decision that works for your style and taste. Third C, confidence. With a nationwide price guarantee, a free lifetime warranty, our unique 110% diamond upgrade policy, and our no-pressure, no-risk environment, you have total peace of mind. And the fourth C, community. Every year, we partner with local charities and nonprofits with significant donations of time, money, and jewelry to make this a better place for everyone. Diamonds Direct, official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics, and proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
This is Creighton Blackwell from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan, and we're here at South Garner High School to celebrate our next Scholar Athlete of the Month. And that Scholar Athlete is Samayan Jones.
It means a lot to me because my parents, they want me to do well and make it in life, so this is for them. I try to work hard in the classroom and on the court for them and do my best.
He's never trying to bring no negative energy, and I feel like that's what makes him a more productive teammate.
My teammates, they encourage me a lot because, I've been through injuries. They cheer me on because 2 games ago was my first time getting back on the court. So they cheer me on, encourage me every day. That's why I keep doing what I do.
He was always there in practice, just cheering us up and just cheering us on for practice, even though he wasn't playing. So that just shows what type of guy he is.
And then I have him in my class. So
he's a great student as well. Just last week, one of his real good friends, he's like, Junior's just a good vibe, man. And that's what he is.
Congratulations to Mayan.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Maye. Snow is likely this evening around the Triangle, anywhere from about a half inch to maybe 2 inches in southern Wake County. 19 the low tonight. It'll be an icy start for your Wednesday. Partly cloudy, 33 the high, 39 Thursday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 538 points today to 44,025. Market update brought to you by Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. Get outside, try something new, and get a fresh perspective in the new year at Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. More than just a place to shoot. DeepRiverSportingClays.com. Again, DeepRiverSportingClays.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting five, so let's go ahead and jump into it, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Out comes Burns. Natchez with it. Natchez stops. Face off dot. Across. Oh, he scores! Game over! Sebastian Aho, his 4th overtime winner this season. And the Canes get the extra point and win it 4-3 in overtime.
How about it? First of all, Canes tonight in Dallas, at Dallas. 7:30 Storm Watch, Adam Gold, 8 o'clock puck drop. You can hear it all right here, 99.9 The Fan. It is a radio only for the Mike Maniscalco, Trip Tracy broadcast. So if you want to hear that, you have to be tuned in to 99.9 The Fan. Now, the Canes did win on Friday against Vegas. They also won yesterday against Chicago. That's good. Let's not pretend like winning is anything other than solid. It's even better when Freddy Anderson was able to knock off some cobwebs, make some plays in his first game playing hockey in 3 months. That's good, especially when the game late in the game has a fast break he's got to deal with. Rust might pop up a little bit. He made the play he had to make. Here's Rod Brindamore on Freddy Anderson coming up big.
He made a lot of good saves early, even though we were down 2. And then, not much the rest of the game. We were pretty solid. And then what happened? Breakaway, and for no reason. That's the stuff that's been killing us. Can't have that little flip out and breakaway. But goalie came up huge. That's the save of the game because that's 2 points for them and nothing for us. It's he doesn't have that. So you got to give him credit too because he'd been out for whatever it is, and nobody really knew what we were going to get, and I'm sure he didn't really, and he was solid, so pretty happy for him.
2 things. One, almost as importantly, it appears like he made it through the game without any kind of setbacks, anytime somebody plays a long time or doesn't play a long time then comes back, I'm always worried about soft tissue. I'm worried about all that kind of stuff. So appears like he made it through. Secondly, those aren't the plays I'd be worried about with a rusty goaltender. Right? He knows exactly where it is, right? There's one guy, he's flying at him. You don't have to worry about losing the puck or anything like that. You just got to kind of fall back on your instincts. I would be more worried, and we saw some of this, right? When there's chaos, when there's trash, when his vision is a little obscured and maybe you lose something, that's where, right, you got to be in the rhythm, you got to be playing a lot. Love that the team picked him up. Love that the team found a way to get the win. Now we get to see, right, I forget what point it was. There was a point in the Panthers season where we were like, all right, let's see how they wanted it to play, because they kind of were getting healthier, and it was like, this is the roster that they thought they put together in August, right? And it's like, all right, now let's see what they want here. It's been a long time since we saw the Canes kind of as envisioned, and I think they envisioned it with much more of a goalie 1, goalie 2, close to an even split. And as soon as Freddy Anderson went down, it became like Pyotr Kochetkov. It's no longer a split. It's you take just about every game you possibly can, and we'll try to find somebody to give you a break when you absolutely need it. You're not taking days off to stay sharp. You're taking days off because you haven't caught your breath in a week. Now we get to see how this team was kind of envisioned, right? So you have a back-to-back. You're on the road in Chicago, followed up by today on the road in Dallas. Freddie Anderson takes game 1. Pyotr Kochetkov expected to get game 2. A little bit fresh, a little bit of renewed Pyotr Kochetkov. Hopefully, we start to see their play level up and level up and level up, like we saw at times last year when they kind of got to an even split. I think that's important. And I'm going to say this is one of my new kind of broken record. I'm going to say it over and over again. They got to start faster. Maybe it's your studs being more aggressive early. Maybe it's, taking a chance or two, although Rod Brindamore won't like that. Got to do what you got to do to score, before the other team scores. To wake up before you're down 2-0. I love that you came back from down 2-0 against Chicago. I'd like it even more if you went from up 2-0 to up 4-1 and didn't make us sweat as much and didn't have to go to overtime on the first half of a back-to-back. I don't know. Might just be me. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Dalton this time in a pistol set. Jatavion Sanders, the rookie 4th-rounder from Texas, attaches to the right side of the line. Here's the snap. Hand off Chuba Hubbard, straight up the middle. Big hole. He's got the 20, 15, 10, 5. Goodbye. Touchdown, Chuba Hubbard.
That was Chuba Hubbard against the Chicago Bears. Why would we play that? Seems like a random Panthers highlight. Well, it's because Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions, not even, 2 days after the Lions were eliminated? Maybe 3. I don't know. Bad with calendars. He took the Bears job. Adam Schefter on why Ben Johnson landed with the Bears.
All these people that thought he was going to Vegas, I never thought that was the logical course of action. And Chicago was lurking in the background the whole time, as was Jacksonville, by the way. And I think in the end, he was drawn to the Bears' aggressive efforts, how much they wanted him, which is in the form of the offer that they present him, and Caleb Williams. All those things together. Is it the perfect scenario? No. Was it the best of the scenarios that existed to him now? Yes, it was.
Here's why I think it's interesting. Ben Johnson reportedly, and this is kind of the where you got to go, it's like half a rumor, maybe a report, was pursued by the Panthers last year with their coaching opening. And the rumor report was he told David Tepper $15 million a year. If you want me to come to Carolina, $15 million, that's a lot of money for a first-time head coach. And it gets more and more you think about it, more and more you're like, wait a second, how is Chicago better again? By the way, he is a North Carolina native. He's from the Asheville area. He went to AC Reynolds High School, which is one of the more wild, recently producing, famous people high schools in the world. Luke Combs, who's a big-time country music singer, he went to AC Reynolds in kind of the mid-2000s. Rico Dowdle, the NFL running back for the Cowboys, went to AC Reynolds in kind of that 2010 area a little bit later. Ben Johnson, head coach of the Chicago Bears, former offensive coordinator of the Lions, went to AC Reynolds. Caleb Presley, who's somebody in sports media who many of you may know. Chase Rice, who played football at the University of North Carolina and is now a country music singer, big time, platinum selling or whatever, also finished second on the reality show Survivor, all from AC Reynolds. So this guy has North Carolina roots. Didn't want to go to the Carolina Panthers. Here's the way I'm looking at it. I'm all for the Panthers hating the Bears with every fiber of their being. Make it a competition. Make it a rivalry. Caleb Williams versus Bryce Young. Make it happen. And I'll tell you this. As a football fan / nerd, I expect Caleb Williams to take 10 steps forward next year because of Ben Johnson. I think he's a great offensive mind. I think Caleb Johnson is in desperate need of that. Dave Canales, make it a competition. Why am I not expecting 10 steps forward for Bryce Young because of Dave Canales? Ben Johnson didn't choose your franchise. David Tepper, some reports had him demanding ridiculous amounts of money, only to then up and take the Bears job? The Bears? There's a legendary story, I reference it occasionally, about David Tepper, about how he felt at his first whatever big law or investment firm he was at in New York. He felt there was someone blocking him from being a partner. There's a partner up there going like, no, I don't approve of David Tepper. So David Tepper went out, started his own hedge fund, made billions and billions and billions of dollars, then went and bought from that guy, from his ex-wife, bought the house in the Hamptons that guy that was blocking him had custom made everything, picked the wood on the floors from some crazy forest far away, picked the stone on the countertops from some quarry. Like everything was custom. And then the legend is, the myth is, David Tepper knocked down the house and has left the vacant lot. Just take that. Go buy the Bears house and knock it down and leave the lot empty. Take the disrespect.
Just go buy Soldier Field. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, raise it. Just knock it to the ground. I'm just saying. I think a good rivalry is healthy for everybody involved.
Yeah, too bad they don't play each other.
I don't see. That's the thing. It can be long distance.
Okay.
Who's going to be the first to make a Pro Bowl? Caleb Williams or Bryce Young? Who's going to be the next offensive guru that everybody's mimicking? Dave Canales or Ben Johnson? Who's going to win a Super Bowl first? Who's going to make the playoffs first? All of it. That's number 4. Let's jump to number 3. Ohio State won the national championship. And here's the lesson, if there's a lesson. The lesson is wins follow money. What was the story of the offseason? Remember, Ohio State spent $20 million on their roster. Turns out that helps. But I'm transitioning to the ACC now, right? The lesson learned is, can you spend on depth? The ACC has proven they can spend right alongside the big chip stacks at the table for the top players, right? We've heard the reports. The Fox affiliate down there in Miami says Carson Beck, $4 million a year to play for the Hurricanes. We've heard the CBS Sports reports. Duke spending $4 million a year over 2 years for Darian Mensah, the Tulane transfer quarterback. $4 million is a ton of money. And I haven't heard of many players, if any players, making more than that. I heard Ewers was offered more and he turned it down. The ACC can spend for the top players. Do you know what's crazy about Ohio State? Their left tackle is a guy by the name of Josh Simmons. He got hurt. He's a projected, at the time, before the injury, top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He got hurt. Donovan Jackson bumps from guard to tackle. I'm watching Mel Kiper's mock draft the other day. He has Donovan Jackson now as a first-round pick. They replaced a first-round pick at tackle with another first-round pick. The best running back in the game yesterday for Notre Dame, Ohio State, and I've watched a ton of film on running backs, it's Travion Henderson. Quinshon Judkins had 3 touchdowns for Ohio State. He's their other running back who was the number 1 running back in the transfer portal this offseason out of Ole Miss. They already had Travion Henderson, and they spent to get Judkins in there. It's the depth that was the difference for Ohio State. Right? So ACC teams, that's the challenge. Right? It's one thing to go raise $4 million to get your quarterback. It's a whole other thing to raise the type of money you need to have a first-round pick backing up a first-round pick. To have a guy go down with injury and have a guy who's just nearly as good go in. Because it is football, right? And in the CFP world, you're playing darn near an NFL schedule. Right? When I was in college, if we didn't make the playoffs, guess how many games we played? 11. Now, 15, 16 games. Easy. Guys are going to get hurt. You can't just spend on starters. You need to find a way to convince really, really good players to be backups. And guess what's the way you do that? Money, 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 money. You gotta fundraise your tail off. That was the difference. And by the way, Notre Dame, really, really good team, and I respect the way they fought all the way to the end. I give them a lot of credit because there was a point in time where I was like, this game is going to be 40-0. Well, actually, Notre Dame scored first, so it was 40-7. 40 unanswered is the way it felt, and they did not go out easy. Despite the fact that, Jeremiah Smith popped on tape. The running backs popped on tape. The offensive line popped on tape. Some of the defenders for Ohio State popped on tape. And Notre Dame just, found a way to be in it late, right up until that Jeremiah Smith long catch. What number was that? I'm losing track. That was number 3? Let's get to number 2.
Finney got rejected by Cooper inside, and he's fired up. And here's James the other way. A crossover up top, Cooper. Feeling it. Sizing it up. Sends it to the right. Evans a 3. Count it.
Duke smoked Boston College over the weekend. Duke's the best team in the ACC. And yes, there's not a lot of nuance there. They aren't playing the best. They are the best. They are also playing the best. Talent's there. Production's there. It's there. They're passing whatever tests pop up. We talked about it earlier. Against Boston College, they won by 25, and the test kind of unexpectedly was, what happens if your second leading scorer is ice cold? Con Knipple scored 0 points. No issues. Flagg with a wildly efficient 28. Proctor scored a season-high 20. Isaiah Evans off the bench, 16 points, knocked down 4 threes. Now they have a week off. That doesn't happen a ton, right? There's earlier in the year, right around, I think it was the holidays or maybe finals, they had like a 13-day break. A week off, going Saturday to Saturday, is not often in conference play.
State and Duke both have it.
True. State, I think they're getting as much to work on, as much things to help them in regular games. Duke, the weeks off might be more important for them than games that they just bully bad ACC teams. If I am John Shire, I'll tell you what I'm doing this week. Practice once a day, and I'm finding something that the players care about that I control, right? Like a morning workout, a study hall, maybe food, maybe like, hey, winners get filet mignon and lobster, losers get PB&J. I'm creating a competition of some kind. And I'm walking in and putting 2 minutes on the clock. Ones versus twos, maybe mixing them up. And I'm saying, you, down 3, minute 47 left. You have 2 timeouts. Go. And then I'm putting a minute 32 on the clock, and I'm saying, you're up 3. You got the ball. Baseline inbound, no timeouts. Go. And I'm keeping score, right? And I'm keeping track. And every day, maybe we mix up the teams. Maybe we do something. But the fact is, the thing after the non-conference schedule, because Duke played a tough non-conference schedule, that I was most concerned about was execution in one-possession late games, right? There was the Kentucky game in which Cooper Flagg turned it over a couple times. There was the Kansas game in which Con Knipple, I believe, and Cooper Flagg turned it over down the stretch, and those ended up being the difference. kind of, right? The only blemishes on the record. Then you hit the ACC schedule. There's not a lot of opportunities for you to practice that, right? There's not a lot of opportunities for you to get better at that because you're winning most of your games by, I mean, at the closest, like 8. At the dramatic end, 30-something. So that's why I think you need to somehow raise the stakes, find something they care about. I don't know if you're even allowed to do this, but like certain player edition shoes or certain find whatever it takes to make these competitions matter outside of just like, oh, it's practice and I want to win. Keep score and put them in as many end of the game situations as you possibly can. So when it does happen, and it might not happen, when they come out of this break, it might not happen in rivalry games. I don't know. It might not happen until the postseason. But you have to learn those lessons some way. And you're not going to do it against teams like Boston College because your second leading scorer can be absolutely frigid, like the weather outside today, and you still win by 25.
Shout out to the snow. Let's go.
Is it snowing yet?
I think it has. Maybe. It's kind of hard to tell from where we're sitting.
Yeah. I'll check during a commercial.
Stay safe out there, folks. Seriously.
There you go. A little PSA. Drive safe. That's number 2. Actually, let's play. We haven't talked NC State. Sorry.
We have not.
So, NC State, they lost. It's panic time. I mean, there's no way to say it otherwise. That loss to Cal stings. We've seen Cal get beat by teams we cover, and common opponents teach you something. You can't lose to Cal this year. And you know what? I'm not. Cal fans, if you're listening, I apologize. Cal did nothing special. I was watching that game, and I don't know if I said anything complimentary of Cal the whole game, and then all of a sudden they won. That's a weird place to be. Boring is a word that jumps to my mind. At one point there was, and I tracked it. It was 50-45, Cal ahead for over 3 minutes. Teams were just running up and down, getting cardio in, right? Just running baseline to baseline. Late game execution is bad for NC State. If you're gonna play to the level of your opponent, that's fine. If you're great at end of the game execution. If you want to be the Chiefs, cool. Every game's going to be a one-possession game. You just better be more comfortable in one-possession games than them. State plays to the level of whatever their competition is and then executes poorly down the stretch. At least that's the tale of their last 5 games. It's got to be frustrating to be a State fan right now. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
7.7 to go. They get the inbound to Raynaud. Hands off to Blakes. Coming front side with 5. Blakes drives against Trimble. His follow-away left of the lane is good. Blakes, the Duke transfer, hits another big bucket.
UNC versus Wake Forest tonight. That was the game-winning bucket for Stanford against UNC over the weekend. I always say that. I was just listening to a podcast. This is months ago. But I was listening to a podcast with Jason Alexander, the guy that played George Costanza on Seinfeld. The opposite theory, right? For those of you that haven't watched Seinfeld, I'm not going to tell the jokes. But there's an episode where George recognizes his life isn't going the way he wants it to go. And he's like, I always make the wrong decision. So he just started, whatever I would normally do, I'm doing the opposite, right? He fated himself, right? So if I wouldn't go up to this girl, I'm going to go up to this girl. If I wouldn't ask for a promotion, I'm going to ask for a promotion. And it works. It's a whole thing. But Jason Alexander said people still contact him like, that opposite theory thing works, man. My life wasn't going the way I wanted, and now has happened. Thanks for showing it to me. And he's like, that was a comedic vehicle, and whatever it takes. UNC is kind of that way in that as soon as I start believing in them, they show me why I shouldn't believe in them. And as soon as I'm all the way out, they start turning things around to get back in. Right at the beginning of the year, they were 9th in the country. R.J. Davis was everything R.J. Davis was coming into the year. I was talking there's a tier after Duke and UNC, big tier break, everybody else in the ACC. And North Carolina during the non-conference schedule said, why would you put us that high? So then I was like, all right, if R.J. Davis isn't going to be efficient, then they don't have no tournament, right? I think there was a couple copper drops. I said, they're not going to make the tournament. Then they won like 5 straight. They were figuring it out. They were putting the roster together. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I was a little presumptive. They had no bad losses, right? Even though they had a handful of losses, they were all the like ranked opponents or teams near the top of the ACC. I'm like, this isn't the end of the world. There's something I can work with on a resume. Soon as I said that out loud, they go ahead and lose to Stanford in a way that they just can't lose at home. So if I go full Costanza and I'm like, everything I think about UNC, I'm now going to pick the opposite, I would pick them to beat Wake. Because I think Wake is like the worst possible opponent for them to see right now. That's what my logic is telling me. Wake at home, especially in Winston-Salem, in the Joel, is not what UNC wants to see right now. Wake Forest is quietly having a solid season. They're 14-4, 6-1 in the ACC. They could easily kind of convince themselves and try to convince others that they're the second best team in the conference. And they are definitely the second best team in the conference if they only played at home. They're veteran, Hunter Salas, Cam Hildreth, Trayvon Spillers, the transfer from App, Efton Reed. These are guys that have played a lot of basketball. They have size. Spillers and Reed are guys that are accomplished down low. So with all that being said, right, they're good at what UNC struggles at. They're on a 5-game winning streak. UNC's coming off a tough loss. I started believing in UNC. They cut my legs out from under me. The logic would say Wake Forest should win this one by a lot. And maybe not by a lot, but win it in control.
By like 11.
It's why I put them as my my ladder challenge. Granted, plus 12.5, but still. If that's the case, I believe in them. UNC is getting ready to cut my legs out from under me. So there's the gambling tip, right? Fade my knowledge of UNC because every time I try to fall out, they bring me back in. Every time I start to believe, they chop me down. And after that Stanford game, it's hard for me to be all in. So, of course, they're going to reel me back in, probably win by 10 against Wake Forest.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get me. If I had some advice, get Drake Powell involved. Just give him the ball, see what happens. It's going to be a first-round pick, maybe top half of the first-round pick. It's going to be real foolish when you're like, we didn't use that guy when he was on campus, did we? Yeah. Don't set yourself up for that kind of wondering. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on here, and we do need to grab some numbers game contestants, here's our very own Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for ESPN Bet Sportsbook. The action is heating up this playoff season at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Lock in your touchdown picks, check out trending parlays, and increase your winnings with Profit Boost. New customers can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win, and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with the promo code RADIO to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan needs numbers game contestants. Dennis, I know I was told earlier, but I forget what the prize is for today. So if you could find that out.
We are giving away a pair of tickets to see Shinedown at Lenovo Center on August 21st for their Dance Kid Dance Tour with special guests Bush and Morgan Wade. Tickets on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. But we can win a pair of tickets right now.
Shinedown and Bush. That's a solid little
and Morgan Wade.
And Morgan Wade. Solid lineup there. All you need to do to get those tickets is win the numbers game. To win the numbers game, you need to call in now. We need 2 contestants. 919-860-5326. That is the number to call, and it's open right now. We need 2 contestants. 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up next.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Johnson trying to step back for a 3. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damas from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The Get That Out of Here's.
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the KYAO Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. Now through February 1st, Triangle Area Bojangles are donating all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the KYAO Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry biscuit. You'll be doing some good and getting something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? Hims can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. And right now, Zero Res has the biggest sale ever going on in celebration of the new year. Make sure you get all that 2024 dirt behind and look ahead to 2025. That's right, out the door 2024. We're feeling fresh, clean, and zero resified in 2025. Right now, the best part is it's all gone from 2024. Carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery. Basically every surface in your house can be zero resified and leave that dirt behind. The offer right now, 3 rooms of carpets cleaned starting at just $109 and take an additional $100 off your air ducts cleaning. The offer is valid through January 31st, so be sure to get on it now. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000 and ask for the 99.9 The Fan Station Special. Spell it forward or backward, it spells the same, Zero Res. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. And, as we talked about, we have Shinedown tickets with Bush and Morgan Wade also on that lineup going to the winner. The competitors for today are Mitchell and Bunn and Marshall in Durham. Mitchell versus Marshall. I don't know, it kind of sounded like. The game is the numbers game. You know what it is. We play it every week, every day about this time. We'll start with Mitchell. We have to ask a question. Dennis, as our judge, will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. The question, as it often is on Monday, and we'll start with Mitchell. So, Mitchell, hopefully you're ready. The question is, ready. What was the highlight of your past weekend? As we start on a Tuesday, normally a Monday question, but it's our first show of the week. What was the highlight of your past weekend? And keep it sports related because we're a sports show.
Well, the highlight of this weekend was finding out, and I want you to quote me, and remember this, State will get just as many wins this week as Duke will.
I see what you did there. I like the logic. It's like, Clemson's playing LSU. I picked the Tigers. It's a little loophole there. All right, Mitchell, stay on the line. We'll see if the clever.
I mean, he's not wrong.
The cleverness gets the advantage from Dennis. Marshall and Durham, same question to you. What was the highlight of your past weekend? And because we're a sports show, keep it sports related. Marshall, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. What was the highlight of your past weekend?
I kind of like seeing Paula Badosa win at Australian Open.
All right. A little Australian Open. Well, I don't know if Dennis is I assume that's tennis, into the tennis. But we'll find out which one gets the win there.
I'm going to keep this one local. Also, just love the little quip of, hey, we're not going to win or lose as many as Duke, or we're going to win the same amount for NC State fans. So I'm going to go with the local one. I'm going to go with Mitchell on this one.
For those of you that did miss kind of the joke there, neither play this week. They both have a week off, so they're going to win the same amount of games is true. They're both going to win 0, lose 0, and just practice. So Mitchell gets to go first. Mitchell, are you ready to pick a category?
I'm ready.
All right, the categories are NFL presidential players. These are all players that share a name with a president in our state, your country's history. NFL, all versions of Johns. That's the Johns, the Johnnies, the Jonathans, etc. NBA team from the 2016 Olympics. So these are all Rio Olympians. Or NHL Hurricanes only.
Let's do NFL presidents.
All right. These, as I said, these are all players that share a name with a former U.S. president. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Yep, we're ready.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Justin Jefferson, Minnesota Vikings.
18.
Correct. Jerome Ford, Cleveland Browns.
44.
Incorrect. Marvin Harrison, Indianapolis Colts.
88.
Correct. Garrett Wilson, New York Jets.
18.
Incorrect. Jerome Ford, Cleveland Browns.
42.
Incorrect. Garrett Wilson, New York Jets.
12.
Incorrect. Jerome Ford, Cleveland Browns.
38.
Incorrect. Garrett Wilson, New York Jets. When you went 44 for Jerome Ford right out the gate, I thought there was a chance you'd just go, all right, 34, because that's what we were looking for, right?
34.
You
right.
kind of had the right structure, just wrong 10 spot.
Yeah.
But you got Justin Jefferson. You got Marvin Harrison. That's 2. Solid number. For those of you playing at home, Garrett Wilson, we would have accepted 5 or 17. He wore 17 the first bunch of years. 5 this year. So there you go. 2 is the number to beat, and we turn things over to Marshall and Durham. Marshall, are you ready to pick a category?
The other NFL one.
All right. Straight and to the point. It is NFL, all versions of Johns, which means the Johnnies, the Jonathans, the Johns. You know what I'm getting at there. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You need 3 for the win. Any questions before we get rolling?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. John Elway, Denver Broncos.
7.
Correct. Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts.
22.
Incorrect. John Randall, Minnesota Vikings.
76.
Incorrect. Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts.
26.
Incorrect. Jonathan Randall, Minnesota Vikings.
78.
Incorrect. Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts.
Pass.
Johnny Hecker, Carolina Panthers.
No clue.
If you have no clue, just throw a number out there. We can keep cycling through. John Elway, 7. You got Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Colts, number 28. John Randall, Hall of Famer for the Vikings, 93 on the defensive line. And Johnny Hecker, the punter for the Panthers, number 10 was the number we were looking for. Unfortunately, 1 is not enough for the win, but hopefully you had some fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Go ahead and try again another time, because Mitchell and Bunn is the winner. The Shinedown tickets with Bush and Morgan Wade on the card. Congratulations, Mitchell.
All right. Go Pack.
All right. I like it. Go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis will grab some info he needs to make sure you get your prize. Again, the prize was a pair of tickets to see Shinedown with Bush and Morgan Wade. Go ahead and check it out if you're interested. I want to be clear, and I say this often, but I as the game show host, I think Trebek dealt with this a little bit in Jeopardy, and right, we're on the same stratosphere there. No, right? Like just sometimes you feel really blunt saying no. I'm just like, incorrect, next one. But I do that to try to get you to more guesses, right? I don't want to sit around and go like, well, you were close. It's just incorrect, next. I'm not trying to cut you off, but as soon as I know you're wrong, I do jump to the next because I want everybody to have a really good, really solid score. That's what I'm looking for. I'm doing this for you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Do want to remind everybody, Canes tonight versus Dallas is radio only, right? If you want to hear Mike Maniscalco, Trip Tracy in that broadcast, you have to listen in to here on 99.9 The Fan. 7:30 Storm Watch with Adam Gold. He was on the road all weekend, so I don't believe he was on the Storm Watches, but he's back tonight. Dennis filled in over the weekend. He was able to do the chats with Rod Brindamore and everything else. But if we know Adam like I think we do, he'll have quite a bit to get off his chest during that 7:30 Storm Watch and every time he pops on the broadcast. So go ahead and enjoy that. And also, a little bit of a personal favor here, if you will. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. We have podcasts popping up there, including Kane's Corner with Adam Gold, Pack Therapy with myself, Panthers Playbook. There's Victoria Vodenecker with her combat sports content, and so much stuff from The Drive, The Adam Gold Show. It's all there. We put a lot of work into it, and we would love for you to join that community. While you're there, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube, subscribe, comment on videos, like videos, share videos. We will be forever indebted to you. Also, Tim Donnelly here for Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. Here's the deal, right? You may think rates are too high to get a mortgage, right? You may be like, oh, no, I don't want to pay that much in interest. Oh, my buddy has a rate that is so much lower, and he only signed up for it a couple of years ago. Yeah, timing is everything, and you can't always choose timing, right? You need a house. You're moving into the area. You're upsizing. You're downsizing. You moved for a job. You moved for family, right? You can't always choose those kind of things. Sometimes you need to be where you need to be, and you need a house. Well, in that case, Miller Lending is right there waiting for you. They can help you out, like a no closing cost loan, right? If you have to get a rate that's maybe a little higher than you want, taking those closing costs away can take the sting out of it, right? No closing costs means no closing costs. Also, the average length of a loan is less than 4 years, and it's been that way for decades, right? So you think, oh, no, I'm signing up for this high rate or whatever for the next 30 years. Well, the average length of a loan, as I said, is less than 4 years, and Miller Lending wants to help you be prepared for the refi, the selling of the house, the getting a new mortgage, whatever will happen, on average 4 years and potentially less from right now. That's where the no closing cost loan is at its best, and that's why you should call Miller Lending. Give them a call. 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. It's that easy to remember, millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. The CFP, done. Year one of the 12-team expanded playoff, and the AP final rankings, they're out. We react next.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Here's Aho with a chance, and he scores! And Sebastian Aho has tied it at 2.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 7:30. Puck drop at 8.
He scores! Jackson Blake gets the stick to it, and Carolina scores on the power play to take a 3-2 lead.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Can your heating and air system handle the winter chill? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Something amazing is happening. Despite a citywide blackout, this company is still up and running. That's because CDW deployed and managed a cost-effective Eaton Triplite Series Smart Pro UPS to safeguard equipment easily and reliably. Keep the power on and protect your IT equipment from electrical challenges. Triplite by Eaton and CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/triplite.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. ¿Vos está pronto?
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, and throughout the entire NFL playoffs, FanDuel goes to another level. We're turning it up to an 11 because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Makes you want to sign up now, doesn't it? $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 wager. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need in the palm of your hand. Plus, when you win, you get paid right away. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Join today. $300 in bonus bets awaits if you win your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Out of the gun, Howard, a Notre Dame blitz, a deep throw, near side. Jeremiah Smith has it inside the 30 and taken down by Christian Gray at the 9-yard line. They threw it deep to their best player in single coverage with Christian Gray, and it goes for 57 yards.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I promise we will get to some CFP Final AP rankings talk. However, Ian Rappaport dropping some important news for Drake Maye. It appears the Patriots, where Drake Maye plays, has their offensive coordinator. Ian Rappaport says, throwback, the Patriots are expected to hire Josh McDaniels to be their offensive coordinator, according to Ian Rappaport's sources. You want to hear something crazy? This is his third different stint as the offensive coordinator with the Patriots.
It's wild. Keep coming home, right?
Yeah, they say you can't go back. I guess you can. Here's my trepidation for Drake, right? If my only, like, if I were a UNC fan and I weren't necessarily a Patriots fan, or I weren't necessarily, like, I'm just rooting for what's best for Drake. I don't think Josh McDaniels has ever successfully developed a quarterback. I went, first thing I did was go to his football reference page during the commercial break as soon as I saw the news. He's been an offensive coordinator or a head coach since 2006 with New England. Had Tom Brady the whole time. I don't think he developed Tom Brady, showing up in 2006. Denver for 2 years as the head coach. I guess you could say he developed Tebow. Is that something you want on your resume? He was the OC with St. Louis, a 1-9 year for Sam Bradford, dealing with injury. Went back to New England, where he was Brady, Cam Newton for a year, and then Mac Jones rookie year. That's probably the best case you have for him developing a young quarterback. Is Mac Jones did have a pretty good rookie year, although it's not like the development that he did stuck and he became like a really good quarterback. He's now backup down in Jacksonville. Then he was the head coach with the Raiders in 2022 and 2023. I don't even know who their quarterbacks were those years. Let me go ahead and check it out.
What was the team again?
The Raiders in 2022 and 2023 would have been, Derek Carr.
Yeah, Derek Carr in 22.
And in 2023, it was Aiden O'Connell for the majority. Jimmy Garoppolo and Brian Hoyer all made starts.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy. That's the quarterback developer that is now in charge of Drake Maye's development. Again, if it's trepidation, it is trepidation for me. Not to say it won't work out, because Josh McDaniels has run some successful offenses. It's just usually with a quarterback that somebody else kind of got rolling and then turned it over to him. And in many cases, that quarterback was Tom Brady. Helps a lot, right? But I do trust Mike Vrabel, so maybe he knows something I don't know. Good luck to Drake Maye. I still think they need offensive line help, wide receiver help, probably running back help, maybe some tight end help, and probably a better quarterback coach to develop him.
Just help.
Other than that, things are set up really nicely for him up there in New England. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Ohio State won the national championship. The CFP 12-team expanded playoff comes to a close. And also, that means the AP poll put out their final top 25. And you know what? ACC, a little more respect than I was anticipating. Nobody in the top 10, but SMU finishes 12th. Clemson finishes 14th. Miami finishes 18th. Louisville, third in the also receiving votes category. So that's kind of like 4 in the top 28. Based on how some people talk about the ACC and at times how the ACC performs, I don't hate that. Right? When you have 2 teams that make the college football playoff and they're both eliminated that quickly, I don't hate that. A lot of respect to Miami. I think that's probably going mostly to Cam Ward, who people are getting high on because of the draft upcoming, and he's going to be one of the first 2 quarterbacks taken. But that's not the end of the world there. Do you know what else is fascinating? Only one SEC team in the top 5. And that SEC team is Texas, which are they really? I don't think yet, right? They basically did it with a bunch of players recruited to the Big 12.
Yeah, can we claim them yet?
I don't know about
or
that.
SEC, can they claim them yet?
Yeah, true.
Like can Big 10 claim Oregon?
Yeah, I am packing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I was counting them as a Big 10 team, but yeah, if I'm not giving the SEC Texas, I can't give the Big 10 Oregon. So it would have been Ohio State, Big 10, Independent Notre Dame, Pac-12 Oregon, Big 12 Texas, Big 10 Penn State before you finally get to Georgia at 6th. Now I'm going to make some jokes here, and I'm going to enjoy them.
Okay.
So you're telling me as soon as everyone's allowed to pay players, the SEC doesn't have any top 5 teams in the final AP? So you're telling me as soon as the committee can't just place SEC teams in the national championship, they don't have anyone that wins their way into the national championship? So you're telling me once Nick Saban is out of Alabama, all of a sudden the wheels fall off the SEC? So you're telling me the second best team in the SEC isn't even better than Arizona State or Boise State? That's about all I got.
Okay.
But still, I do think it's a cold glass of water to the face of the SEC is better no matter what. And actually, I'll go with this. It's a cold glass of water to the face to anybody that talks about anything, and I do this, so I'm hand up. My bad. If you talk about anything in sports as if it is 100%, it's just not. Right? The SEC's better. They've been the best. They're the best. It's not always going to be the case. Right? One of the things I like to yell and scream is you don't draft running backs in the first round. Maybe Ashton Genty is that guy. Maybe I do have to acknowledge the Lions knew what they were doing in drafting Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe it's not as hard and fast as I once expected. And I don't think there's anything about the SEC that's as hard and fast and definite and inbounds, out of bounds, go, no go, black and white. I don't think there's anything like that for the SEC. They had a down year this year. And a lot of that is just they didn't have the quarterbacks. I'm not even sure if the bracket is written differently that Texas makes it as far as they did. Quinn Ewers did not elicit a whole bunch of confidence in me towards the end of the year. Carson Beck and the injury he dealt with, that's what Georgia was dealing with. Nico Iamaleava for Tennessee, I think he might one day be a guy that Tennessee can win because of, but he wasn't that this year. That's how you end up with Dylan Sampson, who's kind of an underwhelming running back with 22 rushing touchdowns. Because every time they got down on the goal line, it's hey, let's take it out of our quarterback's hands. So let me say this also. If I'm sitting here advocating for, you can't say hard and fast the SEC is always going to be the best because it's just there's nothing 100% with 18 to 23-year-old athletes. The same is true in reverse for the ACC. Right? If you say there's never going to be a national champion from the ACC ever again, I doubt it. Anything hard and fast, anything that's 100% is not. Guess what? Miami. That's me mixing Miami and Clemson. My next 2 points were about Miami and Clemson, so my brain said Miami. Miami spent $4 million on a quarterback. Duke, $4 million a year on a quarterback, according to CBS Sports. Clemson, taking transfers. Right? SMU. Guess what SMU has? Money. How many articles can be like the billionaires are waiting to support SMU? They made a CFP this past year. You think that's going to elicit less money from their oil-rich billionaire boosters or more? Probably more. I am optimistic the way this season ended. I'm optimistic with a CFP being 12 teams that the ACC is going to have chances to finish it on the field when in the past they couldn't even get an invitation to the dance. I'm optimistic. I do think there are tweaks that need to happen in the seeding and the bye structure and things along those lines. That's fine. We can have those debates in the offseason. I'm not saying it was done perfectly, but I do think there's optimism here for the future of the ACC and the future of potentially winning national championships if you're the ACC. Now you just have to go raise the money, spend it wisely, and win the games.
Well, ACC boosted their profile with Bill Belichick going to Carolina. Let's call it what it is. At least the name recognition. We'll see how it actually happens on the field. But you have to admit, the ACC this offseason, in that regard, got a massive boost.
If UNC plays really well or anyone from the ACC plays really well against UNC, everybody's going to see it because everybody's going to be tuned into them all year long to watch what Bill Belichick does with North Carolina. And eyeballs are important in that respect, especially when it comes to like AP rankings and things, because people are deciding that. There are voters that decide that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we send you off to Overdrive, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Don't go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote now with no hard credit pull. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, is coming to a close, but we have Overdrive coming up next. Earlier today, we talked to UNC Basketball and a rough loss over the weekend to Stanford. They played tonight against Wake, so we got to shake that one off and dive right into a road game in Winston-Salem. Also, Canes, right here, 99.9 The Fan. Later tonight, it is an 8 o'clock puck drop, which means 7:30 for Adam Golden Stormwatch. Radio-only broadcast for Mike Maniscalco and Trip Tracy, so keep it tuned right here to hear that broadcast. Should be a really fun one. I believe Kochetkov in net, so hopefully the rest did him good with Freddie taking the first half of the back-to-back. We'll be back tomorrow for a Wednesday edition of the show. Looking forward to it. Follow us on YouTube. Until tomorrow, have a great night, everybody.
All playoff roads lead to New Orleans.
Playoff football, baby.
The Wild Cards, the championship games, presented by First Horizon Bank and Wake Men, will be heard here.
It's Barkley running to the left. Barkley gets by everybody. Sequan Barkley is gone. Touchdown. 28-15. Philly.
The Triangle's home for Super Bowl 59. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Just in time for you to have a great new year, it's the Start Something New sales event at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Put yourself in the driver's seat of a new 2024 Jeep Gladiator for 0% for 36 months. Or take $18,000 off any new 2024 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon or Mojave. See dealer for details. Make this your best year yet with a great deal on a new ride. Get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.